Jeff, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see, it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes.
Well, yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, it would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
Yes, I look and see, it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see, it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Wild. Yeah.
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah.
Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guy's Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup, best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup, living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way. Got the whole roster locked in for the day. A Crimson Tower, modern art. Triple cup. Triple cup. Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guy's Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup. Best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup. Living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way. Got the whole roster locked in for the day. A Crimson Tower, modern art. Triple cup. Triple cup.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to another eclectic edition of PWT Live Show. It's Wednesday. Yeah. I am your host, the infallible Phil S. Martin. And today we have a jam-packed show, ladies and gentlemen, and I am putting a poll on the screen. I want you guys to vote wherever you're watching this, YouTube, X, Kick. I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you graded Double or Nothing 2026 an A. I want you guys to put a 2 in the chat if you graded it a B. I want you guys to put a 3 in the chat if you graded it a C, and I want you guys to put a 4 in the chat if you graded it a D. Tonight's show, it is the Dynamite Double or Nothing 2026 follow-up show. Tony Khan is notoriously the worst booker when it comes to follow-up to pay-per-view shows. It is a 3-hour Dynamite / Collision. Collision takes place right after Dynamite because they will not go head-to-head with the Mask versus Mask AAA show, I'm assuming. We will talk about that. We will preview that. We will preview Clash in Italy. Tony Khan's also excited for the Paramount and WBD merger. And there are many WWE controversies, from injuries. We're going to talk about Logan Paul's injury. There's some roster controversy. I was I was saying that like Shaggy. Roster, girl, you're my angel. No. So there are some roster controversies as far as injuries, as far as people signing, as far as WWE ID getting to keep their names and whatnot. And we have miscellaneous news, a little bit of ratings wars. If we got time, I wanted to get to some Sicko stuff that I had set aside. Again, I go in the Sicko folder, I set some stuff aside, and then we get to it. I also have a new segment, okay? A new segment that I want to start doing that I might unveil tonight. Maybe not, because it's too jam-packed of a show. We might have to do it Saturday for Sicko Saturday / Grande de la Noche, or Noche de la Grande. I know I'm butchering it. Undertaker's going to show up and fucking choke slam me to hell. All of that and more, ladies and gentlemen. It is PWT time. PWT. If you want to support, hit like, hit subscribe, tell a friend, hit the notification bell. No, there's too many ways. There's too many things. You can super chat in. You can become a member. Patreon.com / Pro Wrestle Times. So a patron, I guess it's called, or a YouTube channel member. I do bonus shows. Furthermore, on Patreon, I just dropped a 3-hour plus Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week bonus episode, and also season 2 of Tough Enough is coming up, and I recorded 2 watch-alongs today for Patreon, so look out for those this week. Probably both of them will drop this week, or maybe one on Monday, but either way, I'm dropping on there. And yeah, you can hit like or retweet, or if you're on Kick, I don't know what you do there, but just do whatever you do over there. And I appreciate it so much. And make sure you vote in the poll. What did you grade Double or Nothing? We're going to start the show by talking about Double or Nothing, folks. Okay. I was going to do like a video, one of my little video essays about this, but things kept developing, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to review this on the show. And I didn't talk about Double or Nothing really on Memba Monday. I talked more about this whole notion of Tone possibly doing a, like, what is it called? WrestleCon, WrestleMania week type extravaganza next year, you know? And so we are going to get into that as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into Phil Marks bookmarks. Okay, and let's go into this folder called the Double or Nothing folder. And we are going to review this show right now, and I'm going to start reviewing it for you, okay? I hope you're all ready for this. I have some numbers pulled here, and I guess maybe this is AEW news. I don't know. We'll hit a Monet, yeah, and not quite an Ichi Nissan Da yet. How about that, okay? So Double or Nothing went down. I was going to stream it, but then I decided I'm going to drink beer and eat some tacos and fucking watch the pay-per-view and just actually watch it. You know what I'm saying? And so the AEW Double or Nothing 2026, it was at Louis Armstrong Arena, Queens, New York, and the final attendance was 15,015 people. a $1.5 million gate. So good for them. However, it was revealed that the actual turnstile count was 14,400 or something along those lines. And even the Observer was admitting that it was the second best ever for a non-WWE show in the United States. And it was a massive W. Round of applause for AEW for pulling that off. Now, we'll talk about the Sickos and how they reacted to all of this in a little bit, but first, let your boy Phil get through the whole event. Second best gate for a non-WWE wrestling show. Fans were hot throughout the entire event. The stage and the graphics were amazing. Honestly, I thought the stage looked cool. I thought that the graphics were really cool. I didn't like them on the apron though as much, but like the actual graphics they used for the match and like the aesthetic of the LED boards and everything. I thought it all looked nice, but the apron and the ropes, they got to do something. They need to find like their own canvas color. I'm not saying they got to make it red or anything, but or do anything crazy, or they could just stick with the standard considering WWE uses like black and blue and whatnot, but they need to do something. I would do the top and bottom ropes are black, and then the middle one is like solid gold, not like yellow gold like NXT, but solid hard gold, you know? That's what I would do if it was me. And then with the canvas, I don't know, the logo looks fine in the middle. And yeah, so the ring needs to move away from the white ropes though. It gives it the WWE light look. And we'll talk about more about what all of this means as we go along as well. So the buy-in kicks off. Viva Van and Zeta Steel take on the Divine Dominion in a 5-minute title eliminator. Tony Khan is lazy with the women's division, as we saw throughout this entire evening, folks, okay? And I've harped on this a bunch. The match was decent, and the pre-show was actually paced really well compared to usual. And what I mean by that is they were stuffing in more, like they had a whole segment at the end for Mick Foley's stuff, and they were making sure to have this through line of like Mick Foley. And that was a good change of pace, especially because nobody showed up until the pay-per-view kicked off. Like it was pretty fucking empty until the pay-per-view kicked off. But so the match was decent and the pre-show was actually okay. So I wrote the Ops versus the Death Riders. And I wrote, nobody cares. The Ops are lame besides Samoa Joe. The Death Riders have never been cool. None of them are getting more over. It was a random thrown together 6-man for the pre-show. Nothing to cry about. You know, wasn't good, wasn't bad necessarily. So Boom and Doom and Conglomeration took on the Shane Taylor Promotions. And I wrote, again, the problem with AJ Buffimo is that Buffimo, I don't know. Is that he's not really a social media star anymore, and he's being used as a serious wrestler, which defeats the purpose of working with this guy to begin with. Again, you have QT Marshall if you want like a 50-year-old whatever dad bod fucking guy, you know? Like there's no point in having this guy on the fucking roster. And I get it, it's to have the Rizzler out there, but the Rizzler likes WWE and stuff, okay? And so the controversy, now it's just getting controversy every time they come out. And I talked about this a little bit ago on PWT, like last time it happened, but the real controversy comes from the Rizzler rizzing up the valets. So Rizzler recently rizzed up one of these valets, causing a distraction at a pay-per-view. This time, 2 valets got rizzed up at the pay-per-view, and they fought over him, or that was my interpretation of it. I don't know. I was scratching my balls or checking my timeline or whatever. So I saw on social media, some people got triggered by this, and I can't entirely blame them. Every week there's a story of a female teacher sleeping with students these days, and people are sensitive to that stuff because of other things. Hey, not just that, right? There's other there's other things that have happened and have come out, you know, certain files, the X-Files, right? And like people are sensitive to these things, to like the whole like kid adult dynamic, you know. It's fucking, there's been yeah, I'll just leave it at that. That's another pod for a whole other channel or whatever, but I can't entirely blame them though. And because people are sensitive about this stuff, but personally, like I I don't know. It doesn't trigger me. I think it's kind of funny. It's like, I don't know, dude. When I was growing up, I watched that movie Blank Check, and there was, you know what I mean? The dude was macking up that older lady the whole time. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, to me, I get what they're going for. It's a fucking joke, but I also don't blame anybody who's like, nah, that's fucked up, right? Especially with how much you see the type of shit we've seen in the news the last year, or whatever. Again, I'm going to let that, we're going to move on here. So the real meat and potatoes of the pre-show was the fact that Mick Foley was there in his home state of New York. He came out and got a big pop, even though not everybody was in their seats yet. He still got a big pop. His promo was very lackluster. He wasn't like, me and Tony Khan, I was in the boiler room. Bang, bang. Have a nice day. Like, he wasn't going off, you know, doing this crazy impassioned fucking promo. It was just him like, I'm here. I love AEW. The graphic came out. I'm hashtag all elite. And he actually signed with AEW. He'll be hosting many more pre-shows to come. Many people, including myself, find it hypocritical of Foley that he claims he stopped working with WWE because of their support for Trump, but AEW also supports Trump. The Cons have donated millions to Trump's party. But again, that's another video for another channel. Mick Foley deserves all the monies. And I've said this before about innumerable wrestlers. He's a carny marking and a money mark, like all of the boys who are carnies marking and money marks. I assumed with all of the dirt sheet rumors about Mick Foley wanting to wrestle MJF, etc., that he would get involved in the main event. Okay, guys, I was convinced of it. At the end of the pre-show, Mick Foley was confronted by MJF, who kicked him in the balls before being chased off by Darby Allin. It was a good piece of business. I liked it. I don't like that the main eventers showed up during the pre-show before the fucking pay-per-view, but that's like a modern fan problem, I think. You know? Like, I'm sure they've done that in I'm sure on Sunday Night Heat, somebody's come out, like Stone Cold came out before the main event. Maybe not. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, with the age of the internet, I don't want to like see them before the main event. But again, that's like a modern fan issue to have. That's like a nitpick, but and it was a good piece of business. It was like 3 weeks worth of TV crammed into one little segment, though, because they just had Mick Foley there. That's the problem I had with it. And my other problem with it is that, well, the kick in the balls made me think that for sure Foley would come out in the main event and confront MJF or like help Darby out or something like that. And there was rumors that Wardlow was in the house, which nobody saw Wardlow. So if he was there, we didn't see him, unless I think he was in the background of the catering during the catering spot during Stadium Stampede, which if that's the case, that's a trap. More on that in a minute. We'll get to that. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but if that wasn't him, okay, maybe my eyes deceived me. I swear to God, he was in the catering. Either way, though, I thought maybe Wardlow or someone might align with MJF and then fucking like possibly a Kevin Knight heel to the way they pulled it off. But either way, I thought Mick was getting involved for sure after the nut shot. My problem is that he started talking for like 5 minutes after that, after the nut shot. And then it was the crowd's just like, okay, and people are filing in, getting into their seats, and Mick Foley's already on the ground, kicked in the balls, and you're like trying to find your seat with your fucking popcorn and your fucking drink or whatever, right? And you're, you know, you're like, what? Why is this dude already on the ground?
Not fake!
Did I just miss the show? You know? So, I'm all over the place though. Pretty much that was the pre-show. Okay. The pay-per-view kicks off. It opens with FTR versus Cage and Cope in a tag team I Quit match. If Edge and Christian win, they win the tag titles. If FTR win, Edge and Christian can never team up again. The crowd was white hot for Edge and singing his theme. This match was wild and chaotic with a few good spots involving a pile driver on the announce table. They tried to smash Christian's arm with a cinder block, but he dodged it last second. And then they like put his arm in the cinder block and like smashed it with a chair and stuff. Some people were mad about that. I mean, I don't know. It was what it was. It wasn't anything too egregious. And what else? Beth Phoenix returned, Beth Copeland. And I don't think this will be a routine or permanent thing. Like, I don't think she'll be there week in and week out. Hopefully she is, but I'm sure she'll just show up every now and then whenever Edge needs someone to get her back. And I guess that was the payoff to her getting pile driven by FTR. Pause, right? Beth beat Stokely's ass, then got tossed headfirst into the steel steps, which was crazy. I was like, holy fuck. But Stokely then got speared through a flaming table. Nod to Mick Foley, who's in the house. Was it a little bit much? Yeah. Did I go, that should have been the main event? Yeah, I did. Okay. But also, like, the crowd was white hot for it. It was crazy as fuck. I mean, it's 4 professionals in there. Say what you will about FTR. If you like them or don't like them, again, it is what it is, you know? But they did go out there and have this was a fun match. And so Edge and Christian win the titles, though. Okay. They win the goddamn titles finally, and they're going to have a run with them. I'm sure at All In Wembley, we'll see Edge and Christian versus New Day versus FTR versus the Bucks in a 4-way TLC or some shit like that. Apparently, FTR's contracts may be up right away. So if they are going somewhere, then maybe that they could do a 3-way. I doubt FTR is going to go anywhere. We'll talk about that more later. I'm not sure if I have any fucking spots. Oh yeah, and then Edge's Copeland, he almost got like his schlong hole area. His dong almost fell out. You know what I'm saying? He got the Brock Lesnar ripped pants. The curse of the fucking pro wrestler legend ripped pants goes on. Also, at one point during the match or right after the match, Brian Alvarez revealed that the New York State Athletic Commission banned blood and brawling in the crowd. And this was right after this match or maybe the Stampede, doesn't matter, but I'm not shocked by, okay? The New York State Athletic Commission has a bunch of douchebags working for them, trying to justify their jobs. They kept MMA illegal in New York like way longer than it should have been. And shout out to Brian for sweeping that info up until after the match so as not to disappoint anybody. If it was WWE, you'd have a segment going, why did they WWE can't have blood? So what's the point of doing this match? You know, that's what he'd be doing. But we move along here, and where are we here? Yeah, so shout out Brian Alvarez, okay? Just Kevin Knight making his way out. He's about to talk. Let's talk about it. Konosuke Takeshita took on Katsuchika Okada for the international title. It was a pretty amazing match, although there were a few too many fighting spirit no-sell power-up spots, okay? You know, Tone was like, oh, it's great. That being said, they did sell their asses off and build up to those moments or those sequences, if you want to call it that. They paced everything really well leading up to those moments, classic New Japan style. There were a ton of cool reversals to each other's shit. And this was a coming out party for Takeshita. I think having Takeshita lose to Darby, though, the other night was some bullshit. Like, they could have found anybody to lose to Darby, because now Darby's about to obviously put over Kevin Knight, and if he's not, he's a fucking mark for himself, right? Like, this whole thing with Kevin Knight's got to lead to he beats Darby. You know what I mean?
Fucking mark!
And if he doesn't, then Darby, go fuck yourself, you know? But yeah, I think that like Takeshita losing to Darby, then Okada loses to Takeshita. I don't know, man. Just doing the in MMA, you call it the MMA math, the pro wrestling math in my head. It's just like, I don't know what Tone's thinking with some of this shit, but I digress. Don't have time machines, can't go back. After the match, Callis family confronted Takeshita on behalf of Okada. Fletcher returned, got a massive pop. Okay. He got Takeshita's back and the crowd erupted, but then he turned on Takeshita and it was pulled off really, really well. And I like this because now Fletcher can battle Takeshita for the international title. Okada can move up, you know, bigger, better feuds with people and possibly challenge for the world title here, like MJF Okada at Forbidden Door. That would be pretty solid, man, if they can fucking be smart about this shit. I'm not trying to give away any free game, but
the best guy is Tony Khan.
You know what I mean? That could be a match for Forbidden Door for sure. So yeah, and I'm excited for Takeshita and Fletcher. That's something I think will be awesome. But I did write this: 2 matches and 2 return schmozzes back to back with Beth and then Fletcher. None of it was terrible, but it's like, okay, is this what's going to happen after every match? And then we get into Mina Shirakawa versus Athena for the Owen Hart tournament opener. I love Mina. I love Athena, but this didn't need to be on the pay-per-view at all. This was Tony Khan being lazy with the women's division, as I mentioned earlier, and he was throughout this whole show. Just these are matches filling time on pay-per-view that doesn't need to be filled. Fans were trapped on bridges. We'll talk about that in a second, too. It was a solid match, but it was wasting the fans' time. It just really was. They could have did that tonight, and we'd be like, damn, more Owen matches, you know. Instead, you look at their Collision lineup for tonight, and it's just random shit thrown together. Like, Tone could not give a fuck about that last hour. So, Moxley took on Fletcher, or pardon me, O'Reilly, for the Continental title. And it was more or less the same. Moxley is a fake tough guy who's corny and phony, and he's stuck looping, doing nothing while taking everyone's money and time. Nobody in Death Riders has gotten more over because of being in that group. Nobody's been elevated by working with him other than maybe Hangman. Think about all the people who's worked him in AEW. Maybe, okay, MJF, but he's just elevated. Like, you know, MJF, and this isn't like a cope or anything. It's just like he gets over wherever he went. He would have gotten over. Could have went to TNA. People would have loved him. WWE, anywhere that kid was going, he's gonna figure it out. Like he's just that dude. So did Moxley help elevate MJF? I'm sure, yeah. Like if you want to break it down technically in some form or fashion, but like overall, who's really been elevated because they've worked with Mox since is Yuta up there? Is fucking Garcia up there after tapping him out? Who is he elevated or made by being affiliated in his group or has gotten more over or whatever the fuck? You know? Nobody. So it's just a waste of time. And even when people like Freddie Prinze Jr. and other people were putting Mox over for the C2 and his performance for putting over talents and shit, he still won the fucking title. He just put some guys over and got all of his losses back. He just worked the point system and still got the Continental title. And now he just beat, like O'Reilly beat him. He just beat O'Reilly. He got his win back over Roddy Strong, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody. He's beaten everybody, and then he loses to them. It's just 50-50 bullshit with him. He always gets his win back, and he has the belt. So, like, no, he didn't help anyone from the C2. That didn't happen, you know? And the worst part is that Moxley used to go insane in WWE as Dean Ambrose. You see old clips, and he's like a shell of himself now. He can work. He's in shape. He was in shape in this match, but something's missing. There's like an edge about Moxley that's missing, and he's like trying to be edgy with like these shitty spots and like, we're cool badasses, man. But it's like, no, dude, no. Like Dean Ambrose had like an edginess to him. I wrote this. I think Moxley was this guy who carried himself like he does it for the love of the game and not for the money. But since it's become about the money for him, right, he's lost his edge, and he's trying to recreate it by pretending he's a shooter and drowning people and shit. So O'Reilly was great. He was solid, and he gets how to do the back and forth like elbow strike battles better than Mox does. Kyle O'Reilly understands like how to do that shit. And you forget that because he was in NXT having bangers and shit. Anyways, I digress. The match was fine, but again, this could have been a storyline and a big match, quote unquote, surrounding the pay-per-view. It didn't need to be on this card at all. And this is the only match where they paraded good old JR out there, and it actually kind of made me sick. JR doesn't know who the fuck some of these wrestlers even are. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on, seemingly. You know, it's just Excalibur being like, oh, JR, what do you think? And then he's like, huh? Oh, yeah, I'm here, King. I mean, Excalibur. And, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know what's going on where they're dragging JR out there and Moxley somehow drags him out to call these, like, shitty wannabe Japanese strong style bullshit matches, you know? So shame on everyone. Pay JR to just stay at home. If you want to use JR, and I've suggested this before, take some of your billions, send high-end equipment and a green screen to his home, or set him up somewhere where an hour every week or two he films content and does voiceover work, hyping things up or recapping stuff. Don't get him out there calling matches. I don't want to see him ever again, other than him in the comfort of his own home. Okay, chat? So we move along here. And we will move along here. So the pay-per-view overall was paced extremely well and delivered. Let me see. No, I skipped over a part here. Okay, so Samoa Joe took on Will Ospreay. And it was the Owen Hart tournament quarterfinal. This match was for the diehards. And I tweeted out on my X account at Pro Wrestle Times. I was like, this is going to be Ospreay's best match since his return. And I was right. I think Ospreay is the worst booked wrestler in AEW right now. His return has been a flop. The Death Rider stuff stinks. And Ospreay doesn't sell for shit. There's one point in this match where Joe runs and face washes him in the corner. And the camera zooms in on Ospreay's face. And he's just like holding his nose. And it's just so phony. And as soon as Joe grabs him, he just drops it all and forgets. Like, he's not making a face anymore. He's not even trying. And Joe is money. He always will be. He always finds a way to do things we've seen him do 1,000 times, like the enziguri in the corner or the nope spot. Right? He just does little things where you're like, he's the fucking best. When Ospreay at one point does a Sasuke special to the outside, right? And then Joe just steps one step backwards. Ospreay lands on his feet, coquina clutch. And it's like, man, you're the GOAT. Or like he goes for the Os cutter. Joe just nope, walks away from it. Ospreay just hits the fucking mat. It was awesome. They did some callbacks to like Joe's matches with AJ Styles and shit as well. And that was really cool because, you know, Bruv is just a mark for AJ Styles overall. But I hope that, and this is a match you put on the pay-per-view, 100%, especially if it's a tournament opener. Like, these are the type of matches people want to see in AEW, and I've always wanted to see in AEW. And yeah, I'm still holding out for a match like Omega versus Lashley, which we will talk about in a bit. But, you know, Joe and Ospreay's one where you're like, hell yeah, you know? And then Joe showed Ospreay some respect. I hope he ditches the op soon. Swerve and Bandito was a fun match if you're into moves. The build was shit because neither of them have been on many TVs as of late. Swerve's new music is ass, and after they did every insane move to each other, he wasn't selling anything. He got the win after these guys physically did every flip-flop and dive you could possibly do, on top of some impressive feats of strength, and then Swerve just walked off rapping his shitty theme music to the camera. That's what I wrote down. This match was fun, and I would keep it on the pay-per-view over Mox KO and Mina Athena, but it didn't need to be on the show if we're keeping it a being here. Will Ospreay and Swerve need to learn that all the top guys sell their fucking asses off, which you'll see in this main event. Always have and always will. Bandito does rule, though. I'm not trying to, like, shit on him or anything, but Tekla versus Shida versus Statlander versus Hayter for the women's championship was lazy booking. We've seen TK do this many times where there's just a four-way for the women's world title because he has to last minute quickly stuff some women on the show. Statlander beat Jade Cargill's streak. She beat Toni Storm. She beat Monet. There should be a compelling story involving Statlander not being able to beat Tekla or something like that. And Tekla has deserved more from this run. This match wasn't bad, right? It's a four-way. It is what it is. But like, Tony Khan's booking is bad when it comes to the women's division, period. It's irrefutable. He just quickly stuffed all these.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Okay. So the Stadium Stampede goes down. Okay. Jericho, Bucks, Omega, Hurt Syndicate versus Demand, Callis Family, and the Dogs. I'm the dog, the big bad dog. Fit Finley's son. No. Both teams had unique entrance vignette type deals, or at least the Elite did, rather. The Elite Hurt Syndicate did like a Kill Bill, Yakuza, Reservoir Dogs type thing, which was sort of lame. When I saw it, I was like, we just saw Ospreay do something similar randomly on a Dynamite and then never again. So I don't know. But the pop was undeniable. The pop for Omega and Lashley. Now, go back in time on PWT. I've been saying forever, we could get Omega and Lashley for the world title. Why aren't they doing that? This is what I'm talking about. The pop for both of those guys was actually crazy from that crowd, and that should be like a world title matchup, dude. I'm telling you, like, it would fucking work. It would sell. Like, people like Lashley. They have. He's worked in every company he's been in. Okay? And fucking the crowd was like chanting for Hurt Syndicate. We hurt people. Like, they were chanting that more than like anything, louder than anything, maybe all night. So And then Omega got a nice pop. That would be a match I wrote that down. That'd be a match I'd be building towards for the world title eventually, but I digress. I personally think Stadium Stampede and Anarchy in the Arena matches aren't good in general. They never really have been. I think most of them have been pretty shitty and just buries people and comedy goofballs up the Fed or the dub, I guess. It was a cool concept during the COVID era because you had to figure out unique shit to do. And on a card with tag team I quit matches and a world title match that was basically just no holds barred or no DQ or whatever for some reason, right? Is it necessary to do that on this card? I don't know. But there were some cool and funny moments, right? Again, it was fun. I had fun watching the show because the crowd was so hot, and I did get bogged down a bit by the Moxley shit. I was like, what the fuck? And then the Bandito swerve shit, it was bogging me down a bit. Even though they were going crazy, it's just kind of like, man, this is running long for shit that doesn't need to be on this show. That was just my mentality. But either way, this match sort of woke me up again for the main event, which I'm grateful for because the main event I thought was really good. But yeah, so I just think that the Stadium Stampede Anarchy in the Arena, it's like a fucking the Money in the Bank at Titan Tower. It's just like something you do during the COVID era but like nowadays, I don't know. And the New York State Athletic Commission didn't allow them to bleed or brawl through the crowd, as I mentioned before, and like you could see that in the mat, but it was fine. It like made it better that everyone wasn't just gushing and leaking. Like that's especially with the commentary. The commentary was so fucking bad. I don't want to jump over it. My favorite part was the catering food fight where I think I spotted Wardlow in the background, which is a travesty if it was him. He was allegedly in town for the event, and if that was him just sitting in catering, Tony Khan should fire himself. That's what I wrote down. I might have the clip of the food fight. I think I do. And I swear to God it was Wardlow. Maybe it wasn't. I thought for sure I had a clip of the food fight. No, I don't think I do, but Satnam Singh was in there. We can find it. Let's pull it up and see if it was Wardlow in the background, because there was a dude sitting there with like the hair and the goatee, and he was buff. And I was like, damn, dude, AEW food fight. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at the footage right now. I'm not sure if that's Wardlow. I don't see a wild Wardlow. People were saying he was in town. Let me see this shit. No, I don't think that's Wardlow. Like that dude back there. That's not Wardlow, is it? This dude with the deal with like the ponytail and the beard, that's not him. No, Wardlow's bigger than that guy. Okay.
I just smashed into. Oh wait, is that?
When I watched it live, I was like, if that's Wardlow, that's a fucking travesty. Or is that Wardlow? From this angle, I'm like, damn, that might be him. For all we know, might be cut off on screen, but either way, if he was back there, that's a travesty. I thought like the backstage bit with Leo Rush, the Leo Rush thing was cool, but I thought them brawling in the medical room could have been cooler. Right? Like they could have went through, you could have put up like a prop wall and then they go through the prop wall or something. And then Toa Leona comes walking out of it and then Leo Rush comes running at him or something. Like, I don't know. I just think that you could have done more. They just kind of like punched each other a few times in there. And then they're like, man, the whole fucking time was just them, the commentary being like, oh, isn't that crazy? They're just laughing at everything. They should be getting over the notion that like nobody's safe. You know what I mean? Everybody's in danger. The fans could get hit. The commentary got knocked over at one point during the Edge Christian match. Like this match should be it's anarchy in the arena. The medical personnel aren't safe. That's what the commentary should be getting over. And like, yes, they can laugh at silly shit, but at the same time, like they just are like, that's the crazy. Like Shivani's just like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen that before. That's what he says about everything. Oh, a scoop slam. I've never seen that before. Taz is just phoning it in. And Excalibur's the worst on commentary maybe ever in the history of fucking pro wrestling. So, yeah, I just wrote, Jack Perry was a glorified cheerleader throughout the match. He did have the cops called on him for a shoot, though, after crashing his bus into Mark Davis. And again, that looked like a murder. I was like, did he just murder a fucking guy? Is that what the implications are of this situation? And so, again, did I not bookmark it? I thought I bookmarked so much shit. I thought I must have, but no, I don't think I did. The bus crashed, though. Apparently some app went off and they were like, oh, people are in danger or something. I don't fucking know. So, what else? Leo Rush showed up. I talked about that. Ricochet ate so the finish, they almost fucked it up, okay? Ricochet eats everyone's finishers. In order to save Jericho from putting a stamp on this feud, they're doing the match right now as I speak. Time Cop. They didn't have Jericho beat Ricochet with his move, so they should have just hit all the finishers on Toa Leona. They shouldn't have done the thing with Ricochet. Luckily, they didn't lose the crowd, though. But basically what happened was, if you didn't watch it, like, they hit all their finishers on Ricochet. Jericho goes for the Judas effect. Toa Leona moves him out of the way. Jericho whiffs it, was supposed to hit him, completely misses. The guy sells nothing. And then they 7-way super kick Toa Leona, and then Jericho hits the fucking lion salt on him or whatever. Or it was some order like that. And they almost fucked it up because Jericho whiffed on the Judas effect. Luckily, the crowd was hot and they saved it, though. And what else? It was just a what the fuck. And so everything checks out with nobody bleeding and shit like that, though. But we get into the main event, okay? And the main event was MJF versus Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship. It was a solid match, and I wrote, but it was largely predictable. I knew from the moment they booked Darby in that title match in Seattle, he was going to quickly win the title before TK started the actual build to All In. TK is genuinely a terrible booker. He lacks creativity, and he's done similar things before. It's like he's promised Darby would win the belt at some point this year or something, but then he ran out of time and quickly stuffed a reign in before MJF inevitably faces Ospreay, who will win the Owen Hart tournament and get the title shot at All In. Furthermore, MJF would never shave his head. So this is why it was too predictable. He would never shave his head unless a movie rule called for it, which they'd likely just make a prosthetic bald cap, or if his next hair procedure required him to shave his head. But that's highly unlikely. And I mean, you guys, you're not going to fuck it up. Look at Ollie Davis from Wrestle Talk. Wrestle Talk. He fucking grew his hair back like a chia pet. God bless me with a full head of hair, so I'll never have to worry about this, but you don't shave treatments, okay? He spent tons of money on his shit in Turkey or whatever. So he has a little bit of Cena going on, a little bald patchiness, but yeah, I mean, he's not gonna fuck that up. So MJF drew the 15K plus in New York. MJF is the most interesting character on the show. And if AEW is truly seeing rating successes before this abysmal Darby Allin run that Dave Meltzer pretended was some generational iconic title defense run, MJF was responsible for it. Darby Allin's title run will be forgotten in the next 3 months. He was loved by the crowd, though. Darby was. It was a 60-40 split for MJF, but Darby does have qualities you want to get behind as a fan. He does. It was obvious MJF was leaving with the belt. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I just saw it. As soon as Darby won the shit, it was predictable Darby was winning it too. He's done this. Tone has done this. He gave the belt to Hangman at All In just to have him drop it really quick, just to have fucking Joe drop it really quick. He just quickly stuffs things in that don't need to be stuffed in a lot of the time. He just quickly did stuffed in the 3 weeks worth of TV on the pre-show with Mick Foley. It's just what he does. Okay. So maybe it was just me, but these two sold their asses off. Okay. Some positives, okay? They sold their asses off. They would do sequences of moves, if you want to call it that, and then they'd lay there and sell it for a long-ass time, and it only amplified the heat and the magnitude of what was on the line. There was one part where they did multiple pin counters, and the crowd was locked in, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then it went into Darby hitting the code red, and then MJF kicked out at 2, and they both just laid there dead. And the crowd was just super engaged, going crazy. They just worked their way up to their feet. And it was a code red. It wasn't like some devastating. It was like a feat of stamina, essentially, with all the counters into the fucking. And it wasn't like phony slap into block your kick. And then I throw my boot at the ref and then he ducks it. And then it wasn't like that. They were like wrestling, it was good. And it was like a little guy trying to wormy ferret his way on MJF, right? I guess MJF's a little guy too, but you know what I'm saying? He's bigger than Darby. So MJF kicked out at 2. They just laid there selling it. I didn't like how MJF hit a pile driver on the steel steps, though. Like, if he exposed the buckle and then hit his head, Darby's head on it, it'd be a DQ, right? So he just pulls out the steps pile driver. It's like, that's gotta be a DQ. You know what I mean? I get it. Ref's discretion in a title match. But when MJF did it, it was early on enough in the match where it's like he's not even fully desperate yet. Although it does tell the story that like MJF knew that he would have to go completely crazy on this motherfucker to kill him, you know, because Darby just goes until he collapses is sort of the story they're telling. So So I didn't like that. I just thought that was kind of bullshit. You know, he could have just hit it on the stage or something then. Just hit it on the outside or hit it on the fucking apron or whatever, right? Doing it on the steel steps is like you're using a foreign object to deal damage. That should be, or like you're tampering with the ring in some way. Like if he ripped the canvas off and pile drove him, that'd be a DQ, no? Unless it's no DQ. So whatever. I'm harping on that too much. But they need to establish referees' discretion is what I'm getting at. If they want to be like, well, it's a title match and they putting it all on the line, the ref's going to let it go. Okay, then they need to like do that. They need to just not be hardcore all the fucking time, every big match on pay-per-view. They already had multiple hardcore matches throughout the evening. You know what I mean? There needs to be fucking rules that people are just familiar with automatic. Anyways, I'm harping on this way too much, but let's see. They had a barbershop area set up on the stage where there was a checkered tiled floor, a chair and a table and head shavers. It was obvious someone was going through that fucking table off the stage as well, as soon as I saw that shit. But the most epic part of the match came when the two men brawled up the ramp. Darby did a coffin drop off the stage onto MJF through the table. His head landed funny. I think we got a clip of that as well. I think I did throw it in here like a fan cam. It looks so dope. And like here was the stage. I mean, it looked cool. There were people packed all on top of it, like they did a house. So that's good for them, you know. But yeah, here's Darby like diving off the stage, fan playing. Like, look at this. And so Darby, I'm actually giving him credit because he rolled like out of, I mean, he must have known like, hey, the camera on the floor is going to follow him. He fell backwards and cracked his skull open on the tiles. Okay? Because for some reason they didn't gimmick the floor. So I actually give Darby props. He rolled the fuck, and I give him props as like, I guess from a business sense, like helping tone out. He rolled the fuck out of there and got the ref to check his head. Obviously, he's in pain, but also, like, do you think some of that was, oh, we're not allowed to bleed, and I for surely just cracked my head open, and like the camera can't see, like I'm gonna get fined. You know, someone's getting fined for this shit. I'm sure the New York State Athletic Commission fined AEW once Darby came out and his head was bleeding. You know. But like he rolled away, ref checked him, and he was split open, dude. So that was pretty fucking crazy. And it was a fun time. And then the finish of the match, we have fan cam right here. So what happened after that was they fight back to the ring. And again, they just sold the shit out of that moment. Like they just laid there on the stage forever. It was epic. It was awesome. So then they get back to the ring, and I had talked shit. Your boy Phil was wrong, dude. And I was like, dude, what's going to happen at one point, though, is that Darby's going to do some crazy shit, and then MJF's going to fucking hit the middle rope tombstone, and then Darby's going to kick out of it, and MJF's going to make that face like, I can't believe it, and then they'll go into the finish when really they'll have the crowd right there. Like the crowd will be peaked, and they'll lose it. Dude, no. He fucking hit the middle rope pile driver. Let's watch the finish. Picks Darby up. Now, people didn't like this. People did not like this. I don't mind this, and I'll explain why. Headlock takeover. Now, I thought that was a perfectly fine finish. Why? Well, because, and there was nothing else to do at that moment. Like, there was nothing else to do, but people were leaving the building, like, during the main event. Okay, we're going to get into that in a minute as well. Here's the thing, right? MJF, that suits his character to pick Darby up, because let's say he picked Darby up and then Darby slipped out, hit him with a move, and then fucking coffin dropped him 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then retained. Either way, the story there is MJF's cockiness. Now, sometimes it works, right? Like, it can't just be it always backfires, or else he looks like a dumbass, right? This is when people talk about, like, oh, dumb baby faces. Like, why would Cody Rhodes keep getting in positions where people can fuck him over and stuff? You know, like, they say he looks dumb for that. So MJF, you know, he preserved, like, it was an opportunity for him to look stupid, but it worked. So the next time he does some shit that's overly cocky, where that fits his character, where you think, oh, it's going to backfire, it might not. Now there's an element of like, oh shit. So that is underlying. And then the headlock takeover, sure, if that's part of their story, whatever. But I just like that he didn't waste time. He just picked Darby up right away, headlock takeover, pin, 1, 2, 3. Why would, like, if Darby kicked out of it then, and then they're like, oh my God, they spent 1 extra second with the headlock, then people would be complaining too. You know, they'd be like, fuck, man. Blah, blah. So I actually like this finish. I actually thought that this was executed really well. Just my opinion. So let me just see if there's any other notes here. I liked it. This was match of the night for me. Afterwards, oh yeah, so MJF jumped Darby. The medics come out to wheel Darby off on a stretcher, and Kevin Knight hits the ring to run MJF off. That's when Kevin Knight hits a frog splash off the top onto Darby Allin, who's laying on the stretcher. Show goes off the air with an epic heel turn. This worked really well for me because it's how you position a young homegrown guy you're trying to make into a star in a key position, and nobody saw it coming. I just think we all thought it was more, especially with the Fletcher thing earlier. Now, that's where I don't like it. I don't like it because we had the Beth comes, and then the fucking, and then the Fletcher comes, and then he turns, and then you have the Kevin Knight comes, and he fucking turns. I don't know. It could be too much, but they at least spaced it out. Start of the show, end of the show, okay. And it just went off the air where everyone's kind of going, what the fuck? I want to watch this Dynamite. Now, Kevin Knight tonight, I'm going to go back and re-listen to his promo from what I heard while I was sort of talking over it. I don't know. It didn't seem like he was cooking, too hard. And then he got involved with Mike Bailey, which we knew is what was going to happen as well. Mike Bailey's going to confront him. Why'd you do that? He beats Mike Bailey's ass. Then he beats Darby eventually, defends his TNT title. You're building this guy up. I like this. Okay. I like this for him. And this is how you let people know you're invested in fucking Kevin Knight. And he's a guy who's on your TV all the time. And then he's involved in a top angle, but it's sort of positioning him more in the middle where people kind of want to see him, not giving him too much too early. And then he just flounders. I'm okay with that. So, they did something for once with homegrown guys other than I wrestle good. Okay. So Tony Khan is known for booking the worst follow-up shows to pay-per-views ever. Dynamite typically loses its hype and ratings after pay-per-views. And the follow-up needs to be there for any of this to matter overall, though, okay? This was also very predictable, as I said before. But at least so that was with the outcome of the actual title match. At least we're back on track before All In. The pay-per-view overall was paced extremely well and delivered as an entertaining sports entertainment show. Most AEW shows drag on for too long, and this one could have done with a couple or few less matches, but Tony Khan is also learning restraint with times for some of the matches, primarily the women's. They didn't ruin any storylines. They even started some new ones that I'm genuinely interested in. I don't think it was one of the top 5 AEW shows of all time, though, like everybody's saying. We're going to get into the Sickos right now, okay, guys? I think year 1 and 2 really did some incredible things that people just foo-foo away because Dave Meltzer's trained them and Tony's trained them to say, everything's great, and each pay-per-view is better than the last. It's just not true. But this was their best pay-per-view of 2026 so far, and I rated it a B overall, and that's where the sickos come in. So chat, I want to know, I'm checking in with you guys now. So put a 1 in the chat wherever you're watching this. YouTube, X-Kick. 1 in the chat for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Your boy Phil is going to put a 2. I didn't put my vote in for B, but I graded this a B overall show. Not a B plus, not a B minus, just a solid B. Now, a lot of people are hyping it as it was the fucking greatest show, the greatest pay-per-view of all time. I just don't think so, man.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I think like maybe is it in the top 10? I'd have to like rewatch a bunch of them, or like really I'd have to like go through each one, look at each card and go like, oh yeah, this is what was going on, to like really fully be able to determine that, I think. But it was a really good show. It was overall good, just a little too long, and the sickos and the fans felt the effects of this as well. So we are actually going to get into, this is AEW news / a little bit of sickos. Okay. But this is just all double or nothing stuff. So we talked about the gate, right? And again, we're comparing it to other double or nothings. And you know, Fightful said this: AEW Double or Nothing is a sellout with many talent and staff being told that comps are extremely limited. We found out the turnstile count was like 14,400. So good for them, right? But we compare it to past attendances of Double or Nothing. So 2019, they had 11,000 fans in Vegas. In 2020, 0 fans because of the pandemic. They had 5,200 for Daily's Place in 2021. In 2022, they had 14,400 fans in Las Vegas. In 2023, 10,500 fans. In 24, 9,000 fans. That was in Vegas. Those were all in Vegas. In 25, 8,200 fans in Arizona. Like, oof, dude. And then 2026, 15,015 fans in New York. And again, man, this isn't fucking Frank Sinatra, New York. If you make it here, you'll make it anywhere, right? This isn't what this is, guys. Like, Forbidden fucking Door is struggling to sell 5,000 tickets right now. Forbidden fucking Door. And this is why I have a problem with people saying Tone should run the Super Show instead of WrestleMania. How? If it's all on AEW's back, they're lucky to get 20K people in a place. If Tone and AEW want to team up with New Japan and shit, guess what? They're doing that, and it can't even sell 5,000 tickets. Hasn't even sold 5,000 tickets yet. So what are we really talking about? And this isn't me shitting on AEW. I put them over a bunch. My review was very, very good, I think, for this pay-per-view. It's just that, like, we have to be fucking realistic sometimes. And when you do the Young Buck empty building, hands in the air victory lap after we booted CM Punk out of our company and we're in Chicago and the building's half empty and people are actively walking out as we run around an empty building with our hands in the air. Before you do that, sickos, you got to fucking consider what's actually going on and why it just comes across so shitty. Go after TNA. You guys are kicking TNA's ass, okay? But it's just like, when, and again, not to do but WWE, but WWE did like 17,000 at the last MSG house show they did in New York. That's all I'm saying. Like, thank MJF for this house, and hopefully they continue them. I mean, with this Orange Cassidy shit, it's not going to work. How do I know? Because they've tried this for years and it just turns fans off time and time again. So that's the problem. They need to get away with this and lean more, go in the right direction with things. They're not going to fucking do that. None of this is going to matter in the end. Okay. And when Tone says things are for fan service, I disagree. I don't believe that. Why? Well, we're about to get into that, as you can see. He has the hardest glazers and he abuses them. It's kind of fucking sick. Okay. And he does things like book these big buildings where people are getting, and then they fill them half full. And then people are getting charged way more than they should for parking or to buy a fucking hot dog or whatever. Right. And it's just so that Tone, because Tone likes the amenities and stuff. Now they've gotten away from that more recently. So W. You know, they're doing smaller venues. Big win. I've put that over a bunch of times. And the problem is, and again, for the pay-per-view, they fucking filled the house, right? But the problem is, it's like Tone doesn't know what to do when you have a lot of fans show up at your shows, because everybody got trapped on a fucking bridge and had to break into the train station and all of this sort of shit, which we're about to talk about. That's what we're about to talk about, Brett. That's why I kicked your leg from your leg, Brett. Right? And so you see some of the sicko like reaction to shit, like, you know, Elboo from Selfmade goes, momentum is contagious. When you win over New York, you eventually win over the nation. Are you sure about that, bud? Like, most of America thinks New York and LA are cooked, right? You fucking know that, right, dude? So like, I don't know if that's it's to him, it's like Frank Sinatra. It's what I said. If you can make it here, you'll make it anywhere. It's up to you. New York, dun, 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 right? It's like, it's not that. AEW has reclaimed New York. And again, Elboo, he eats cereal out of paper bowls. He cooks watery pancakes that are paper thin and is like, why are they bubbling and shit? He created the fucking smash burger version of fucking pancakes and then had to come to Twitter and be like, why are my pancakes bubbling? And he's cooked, so I don't think he understands the definition of words and shit. Like, he one time said that, like, if you like WWE, you have internalized racism. Literally. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So he said that and it's just like buzzwords he sees other people use, so he wants to use them. But he says AEW has reclaimed New York. Well, buddy, they got ghosted by MSG. So
Let's talk about it.
When have they ever claimed? You can't reclaim. You could say they claimed New York. Okay, I'll run New York. I get money. I get it. Yeah, I'll run New York. Sorry, shout out 50 Cent. But yeah, to reclaim it, you'd have had to have claimed, like, you guys can't even get a call back from MSG. So again, what are we talking about here? What are we doing here? So again, you see more of the sickodom. And this guy here, Alexis Cardoza, shout him out. He goes, this show, AEW Double or Nothing, is the turning point for AEW. The shift is here. You can feel it. You can see it, man. They have finally separated themselves and the gap is spread wide apart. Yes, in your fucking in your brain stems, the gap is wide apart, because if you're saying the gap is wide apart, in what way? And I'm assuming he means with but again, this is just a buzzword, like, oh, they're closing the gap and stuff. So he like misused the Meltzer phrase. He meant to say like, oh, they're closing the gap, but he's like, the gap's wide apart. But the shift is here, and this is the problem. It's like a week ago, it was a rebuild. Now, and then they're a startup company, and then they're surging again. And then the tides are turning, and we have to pick a lane. Like, are you a startup, or are you reclaiming things that you never claimed, or is there a resurgence, or is it a rebuild, or is it a challenger, or is it closing the gap, or is it beating Raw in the ratings? Like, you know, we have to like pick a fucking lane here, dude. Can't be all of those fucking things at the same time. It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. That guy's probably a bot, but I'm just putting out there. It's people are like, what the fuck? So this guy here posts, let me move the imaginary bangs from my eyes right quick to make sure I'm reading this right. So JD from NY goes, I'm over here. I can confidently say that AEW Double or Nothing was the best AEW pay-per-view of the entire year and the best pro wrestling show of 2026 by a wide margin. Just an excellent show from top to bottom. And then again, man, the sickos are like, what? He put over AEW? It's like JD always puts over AEW. Same with Alfred Kunawa. Alfred Kunawa was rating the matches like 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Okay? This is what's fucking cooked with the sickos. They got to understand this. Like, you're just, this is why people go, whoa, fuck these guys. You know, it's like a sicko fan base. You know, it's like the fucking conservatives in Hollywood. They just don't bring up that they're conservative. You know, there's no point in it. Makes a lot of people go, I just don't fuck with AEW, or maybe I fuck with it, but I can't even be vocal about it. I've heard stories of celebrities too, just not wanting to be like, yeah, I fuck with WWE or whatever. Things like that, because they know they've seen what happened to fucking Kat Dennings and stuff. They don't want to just even get tied up in that. People wonder why the Netflix kids, none of the Stranger Things kids, not even Noah Schnapp was there for the Stranger Things fucking Raw episode. Why? Why would you go? And what? Have a bunch of fucking sickos fucking, you know, like, you think there aren't other people who represent people who know about wrestling, like a Niccolo Piccolo telling the celebrities they represent? Yeah, I mean, the wrestling fans are fucking cooked, man. So again, JD's just like, exhibit A as to why the fan base is a complete dumpster fire. When I say something that they should all agree with, they use it against you, as if I'm not allowed to say it or I don't mean it. And it's so true. I tweeted out a bunch of good shit about Double or Nothing. I was live tweeting it. The one of the negative things I tweeted, it was just like sicko tardation underneath. It was like, dude, you guys need to fucking chill. You know what I mean? But just ignore it. That's the best, you know. Don't let it affect you. So again, like, JD's putting it over, and that's not good enough for the fan base. And then you have motherfuckers like Paul Walter Hauser. And he goes, AEW does not have to be your favorite company, and you're not right or wrong. But if you watch Double or Nothing and you didn't enjoy it, grow up. Bro, that's like saying, hey, man, your favorite genre of music, like, hey, it's country night on American Idol, and your favorite genre of music is pop. If you watch this and you didn't like it, though, grow the fuck up. It's like, what are you talking about? It's all subjective. It's all subjective. Some people literally, like, go to malls and race their frogs or turtles and shit. I'm just trying to think of the most obscure thing ever, right? Like, people get enjoyment from different things. Like, some people like different video games. Some people don't play AAA titles. They play fucking indie developer games more. Some people like just playing classic card games on their phone and they don't have Angry Birds or whatever. Like, what are you talking about? Why do you do this? It's such a fucking cringe Lord Hollywood pompous fuck thing to say. But he goes, Double or Nothing was objectively great. Well, qualify that now. Now you have to qualify that. Now someone who thinks logically goes, well, what makes it objectively great? Because I could just not like it and think it was shit, which is totally fine. But if you want to play the subjectivity game, okay, you can be there debating what people like all day. So there's no point. But when literally, like, it was objectively great. Okay. Like, I guess so. Maybe, yeah, they did a good gate. So I guess that was great. Like, what else, right? Like, the main event was over. What else? How do you quantify it being objectively great? It was a live entertainment show, you know? Mox versus O'Reilly was like the least important match, and it was still an absolute banger. Again, was it a banger? I don't know. I think Mox is the shits. I just got to be honest, personally. Like, so was it a banger? I don't really think so, dude. I don't personally. I'm not like, oh, that was just a banger of a match. Like, there was way better matches on the card, in my opinion. Again, it's all opinion based, subjective, but whatever. So you get the Sicko stands. They're out tenfold, right? And here's what Ariel Helwani and the boys in the back had to say on the Ariel Helwani show. And he says that there appears to be a lot of positivity surrounding AEW right now during a time when people seem frustrated with the WWE product. So let's take a listen to what these guys are saying, because they summate it very well. And these guys don't know, the boys in the back don't know shit about wrestling. They don't know the wrestlers' fucking names. Here's what Ariel Helwani has.
It was a great time, man.
Shout out the Ariel Helwani show, by the way. So gracious. Shout out the boys in the back. You're also gracious. But and we play your clips all the time. Friends of the show. Great guys. Never met them. The king of the 10-7s, Papa. The PF Chang's general, those who know.
Be a lot of positivity surrounding AEW right now. There seems to be a lot of goodwill. That's my read. Online, people seem to be glowing. And, you know, it seems to be like people are a little bit, what's the word? Frustrated with the WWE product right now. There definitely seems to be a moment that they're building up towards. And I did see a clip in the post-event press conference where Tony Khan was asked about any plans for next April. Of course, WWE will be in Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania, and it has been proposed by others. We mentioned Paul Walter Hauser mentioning this on Twitter as well.
I've broken this down so many times, and I want them to prove me wrong, but you have to build that. You cannot just fucking fill the void of a WrestleMania just because AEW, you know?
Saying like, hey, there's an opportunity here to do something very special for the North American and, you know, the fans who, for whatever reason, don't want to travel to Saudi Arabia. And I thought that Tony Khan's demeanor and remarks were very telling. Here's what he had to say.
But next April.
So we're going to play this later, but Ariel taking time on his platform to be like, yeah, it seems like the tide's turning. We're going to talk about tone in a little bit here. That fits more into the cringe tone section of the show here tonight. So fans were left stranded, though, after Double or Nothing ran late in Queens. Okay, so they were left stranded, and we have some footage of it. But what do you expect in New York ran by Mamdani? Am I right, fellas? Everybody's, I don't know shit about, like, why this guy, people just seem to, like, fucking love or hate this guy. Am I right? I don't know. But Excalibur invited him over. Jokes aside, he invited him to the fucking Double or Nothing. And this Mamdani guy, I hope I'm saying his name right. That's his name, right? Yeah, Mamdani. He fucking is very controversial figure in America, and he was spotted, I think, at an AEW show in the past before he was mayor or something like that. So the fans, though, they were trapped outside, and that was a joke, right? What really the concern should be is Tony Khan should have contacted the fire department, contacted the police, should have contacted somebody. Tone doesn't even know what to do when he gets a fucking big house. He was sitting there marking out being asked. Let me ask you. He was being asked fake fucking questions by these shill ass dirt sheets who like have these very fucking premeditated, like they know not to say WWE but allude to WWE and blah blah. Like all their questions were checked before. Those press conferences are so fucking phony now. Okay, and it's so funny how WWE ate shit for that, but Tony does the same thing, and he's like, I'll be here all night for you. Meanwhile, there's people trapped, unable to get home. Like, look at all those people. Imagine if someone just started, like, doing something crazy. You know, God forbid. Like, I'm not trying to encourage anything, but imagine if, like, some shit popped off, and there's all these people, like, someone could have got fucking trampled. Anything could have happened. Now, I'm not trying to doom and gloom it, like, oh, my God, shit on it, because, like, this happens. But this is, like, the 100th time. This is not 100th. It's, like, the 10th time, though. This has happened with AEW, and Tone should know better. Start the fucking show earlier. This is crazy, you know? And you can say it's on the fans. Buddy, people had to duck out early because they knew this would happen. Influencers. Sicko influencers even, which we're going to get to. So, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. There's nobody there to help with crowd control. We have more videos of this shit, so...
And it's better than a Darby Allin fight.
No, this guy just said it's better than a Darby Allin fight, standing in this crowd trapped. Holy man, and he paid to fucking go there, dude. That's pretty
You just made the list.
That's pretty crazy. Right? Like he doesn't seem satisfied with the main event or this shit, or maybe he's just drunk and talking shit. I don't know, but let's listen to that one more time.
And a Darby Allin fight.
Oh, felted Darby, dude. He was just an E-drone, man. Fucking E-drone. That's what I'm saying. People were there to see MJF. People were there to see Edge and Christian and shit, you know? And so I think we have more fan footage. So just scrolling through some things here. Again, Sickos defend anything. Like AEW teamed up with Vita Coco. They had a fucking Vita Coco mascot out there. Again, I'm not triggered by that. Why? Because I'm not triggered by fucking mascots being on wrestling shows, but Sickos keep the same goddamn energy. We talked about Mick Foley. Some people were outraged that Jericho jumped through this fucking table to pay homage to Sabu. Again, I don't care because it's paying homage to Sabu. If it was not doing that, I would actually be I'd be like, what are you doing? But because it was just to pay tribute to Sabu, Terry Funk would do shit like that too. I'm okay with Jericho doing that, I guess, in that instance, right? Again, the Rizzler rizzing up these girls, like this is terrible, shitty Attitude Era stuff, okay? And it was Harley Cameron. And it's just terrible, shitty Attitude Eras. That's my problem with it. Now, if it triggered you, if people are sensitive to this, I understand. To me, it's kind of funny, whatever. Harley Cameron is funny. But I don't know, man. It's just Sickos will defend this shit. And then they'll fucking shit on WWE for having a short women's match, even though women are like the primary focus of every Raw and SmackDown, it seems like. You know, Copeland's dong almost flew out. We talked about that. Here's the Vita Coco mascot, right? We talked about that. We talked about the New York State Athletic Commission. And you have this guy here, Justin Wang. Oh, yeah, in the building. So a disabled fan claimed AEW robbed him at Double or Nothing over ADA seating issue. So again, everybody's like, Tone just does fan service and all this shit. And it's like, I don't fucking know if I agree with that ever. And I'm not saying this one isolated instance is a big deal, but it kind of is. Like, Tony's so loving and caring, Cade. Someone couldn't have fucking talked to this fan and got him a seat or whatever. Like, people couldn't have called the fire department and made sure people could get home. You couldn't have booked 3 less matches and, like, given the fans a way to get home safely a little bit. And I'm not saying anything bad happened, but, well, it actually, some bad stuff did happen. They were breaking into the fucking train station and stuff. But this guy wrote #robbed. I paid for seats and the production crew set up their equipment and we had to stand all night. Ended up leaving halfway through the show. It was in the handicap section too. When I asked the worker, they said we are not moving. The production dude took over the handicap area that they sold tickets for. Like, that's fucked up, man. Like, that's an oversight.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Okay, if he cares so goddamn much about the fans. And again, Sickos will sweep this up. Where's fucking, I bet Boris is in chat defending this. Right? So, this guy says, I paid for 2 seats. They're different seats because they have yeah, so I fucking hey, hello. I muted myself. So where was I? Chat will let me know where I was. I was talking about Justin Wang, okay? He cannot he can afford to like dip out. He goes to all these shows. I'm pretty sure he's rich. No, I don't know. He probably makes good money off YouTube though. And he goes to all these shows. So for him, he's like, whatever, dude, it's no big deal. And I'm not shitting on Justin Wang. But for everyday people, or most people, they paid to see MJF in the fucking main event and they want to see whatever happens and shit. So it's like a fuck up on their end. And so Justin Wang pulls a fucking Snake Plissken, dude, and escapes from NY, dude. And he fucking gets out of there quickly because he knew this was going to happen. And he escaped before everybody was trapped. I mean, what a fucking oversight. So again, just more footage from people. And I go over all of this to show you like the sicko mindset. It's cultivated and they're not critical of their own. And so they can never be fucking honest about shit. For instance, in WWE, some people don't like the way Oba's being booked, and WWE people debate it, and we keep each other honest and true. Again, I'm a fucking sicko. I just glazed this goddamn AEW. Well, I'm not a sicko. I actually detest that fucking term, and especially with this clip we're about to play in a minute. But you know, I'm a wrestling fan. You know, I'm a pretty hardcore fucking pro wrestling fan, right? And like in WWE, within that fandom, like we keep each other fucking honest, okay? In the AEW fandom, we do not keep each other honest with shit. I mean, whatever. This is none of these people's fault, right? But it's just a matter of like Justin Wang is just like, whatever, I dipped out early because I'll just go to the next show and I probably have fucking Tony Khan on speed dial, or maybe not, but it's just like, if this happened at an AEW show or a WWE show, Justin Wang's tweet would be very much different. Paul Walter Hauser's tweets would be different. I just want to point this out. Okay. It's always just like, whatever, I slipped out early, no biggie. And then you have people fucking breaking into the train station. And at first when I saw this, I was like, nah, how do we know they're wrestling fans? I turned the volume on. This is how you know they're wrestling fans. So they invite Mamdani to the show and then they trash his fucking city. Lock them up. They should all go to prison. No. And so, you know, during the show as well, Christian Cage was like, I banged your mom during the I Quit match. What does Tone tweet out? Justified I banged your mother chance for the New York Street Fight I Quit match. I banged your mother chance. Buddy, the Rizzler was there and 2 adult women were hitting.
Master need to obliterate.
Okay, we need to. I'm not one of these soft moisties. Like in the Attitude Era, people were doing suck it, chugging beers, flipping middle fingers, and pulling their tits out for DX, and kids were there. Okay, and that shouldn't have happened. Now, again, it's not like I'm not overly triggered by this shit, but it's bad optics. Okay, when people come out and want to point these things out, you can't sit there and be like, you're just an e-drone. No. Okay? That's like bad, cringy, not even Attitude Era shit. It's just cringe. I banged your mom? What are you, 12, bud? That's what MJF would say, right? And Tony
the best
Khan's
guy is
just
Tony
fucking
Khan.
the best guy. So, again, it's like encouraged. This type of activity and rhetoric is encouraged. And it's encouraged by one Dave Meltzer. So we're going to need flutes in the chat. Okay. Because actually, no, we're going to save this for Thursday. This is actually just to do with Jericho and him talking about people's demise. I mean, we don't need to get into this right now. Okay. This is a whole other topic. We'll do this tomorrow. We're going to put it in Phil Marks bookmarks over in the Dave Meltzer folder. Okay. But he is you can put flutes in the chat anyways, because he is like a king sicko. He does promote this mentality of like, you know, Darby does this fucking horrific, horrendous bullshit and it's 5 stars, and Will Ospreay falls on his neck and has fucking needs neck fusion and it's 5 stars, but then he'll sit there and gaslight everybody. Oh, I mean, they should slow down, but he rewards a certain style. He got into a fight with fucking Brian Alvarez about like Penta versus Javon, which we're going to talk about tomorrow on DMDMW. And yeah, so I just want to take everybody's attention though over here, because we're not done our Sicko segment. And one thing that happened today where everybody was like, what the fuck, was yet another, and this isn't all AEW fans, but what are the fucking odds that this happens again? Let me see this here. So let's head over here. So again, guys, and this isn't all AEW fans, but I was talking about this with somebody earlier. So another AEW guy is caught in like a pedo catcher thing, and it's a guy wearing a fucking hoodie with AEW on it, okay? Now, this is literally between kidnapping people and chaining them up in your basement to being caught on a pedo hunter thing. This is like the 4th thing in a year and a half, I feel like. Do you know what I'm saying? This is like the 4th thing where it's like, okay, here's a pedo catcher vid. The guy's watching Dynamite. Here's a guy who chained a guy up. This is the 2nd for sure where a guy got runned up on and he's wearing a fucking, I think the other guy was wearing like a Young Bucks Bullet Club shirt or whatever. But like, I'm just saying this. How many times did Chris Hansen have a motherfucker walk up in a WWE shirt? Let alone like, not even wrestler specific. Like when's a pedo catcher gone down and the guy was wearing a Stone Cold shirt even? You know what I'm saying? But like, this is the 3rd or 4th guy with an AEW hoodie doing some crazy shit where everybody's like, whoa, what the fuck? Okay. And I don't know, man. This is just, we have to go over this because it's topical, and I just did a Sicko segment, right? And I didn't want to just skip over this entirely. But yeah, I don't know. Here's a ped catcher video, and this is somewhere in the UK.
Your dick is the most odd-looking thing I've ever seen.
And this is what I love about this video. The guy's like, your dick is the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen. This guy's like, what? And it's so funny because this video, the ped catcher's like, pull your dick out then. You want to show it to kids? It's the funniest way to own a fucking sicko freak like this guy, you know?
What the hell are you on about? Isn't it?
And this is at auditing you, so I don't know if they're like doing ped catcher stuff. I don't fucking know. All of these not all of these influencers, actually, that's too broad of a blanket statement or a general way to fucking phrase this, but like a handful of these social media guys, like Aiden Ross type guys, are like, we're gonna catch pedos now. I don't know if this is like one of those.
That's ridiculously shaped. I mean, why would you want to send that to a child? What we as grown adults have to look at that. We have to look at these images. That's up to the police to think of them. Well, yeah, it will be. They're going to go on, drop your kegs, let's have a look at your finger.
Let's look at your dick. That's so fucking funny. That's actually what, hey, you want to send pictures of it to kids? Hey, whip it out right now, motherfucker. That's actually hilarious, dude.
Yeah, right. That's what they're going to do.
And he's so offended by it. It's like, you sick fuck. You sick fuck. You sick fuck.
They are going to remind you today. They are going to send you straight to the bank tank.
How do we
Yes, they will. Why won't they? Sorry. Why are you so sure that they won't? You're not going to be able to buy yourself out of this one. Because I haven't done anything. You haven't done anything.
But it's just like the 100th time, man, that this is not 100th, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Like, and this is a cartoon show. It's all made up, right? This is all fake. This is just, you know, your guys' imaginations that this is even happening right now. It's all a fever dream. But it's like that one guy too made a video. That one guy, that AEW Neckbeards. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter. There's AEW Neckbeards on Twitter. He's always beefing with this guy. I forget his name. But this guy, I forget what he runs. It's like Follow the Revolution on Facebook or whatever. But he posted a video of him like or a bunch of pictures with like kids outside of an AEW show, different people's kids. And he's like, I love meeting up with kids of AEW fans and stuff. And like, whatever. I'm not saying that guy did anything or whatever, but I'm just saying like, that's fucking what's going on. Like, what You know what I mean? That's crazy, bro. Like, no, why are you doing that? So it might just be the real true sickos. But again, man, when this happens, you have the Rizzler with the ladies thing. Tones tweeting out a justified "I banged your mom" chant. Like, it's just a weird vibe where you're like, fuck, dude. I don't know if I can fuck with y'all anymore after some of this. Like, fuck if the wrestling show's good or not. You know, I just don't. Am I safe going to one of these shows, dude? This is fucking.
Are you a convicted sex offender?
I was convicted, yes.
Yeah, so you are a convicted sex offender.
Oh,
you
no.
can stand there with your phone and your glasses and your cap looking all...
And his coat.
His coat.
Yeah, and his jeans. What's wrong with that?
But the
Would
thing
you
is...
prefer for me to be naked?
No, thank you.
No? So what's what I'm wearing got to do with the fact that I'm standing here talking to you about being a convicted sex offender?
You've been quite aggressive.
Am I? You should be very thankful that this man Wayne is here today.
But sending dick pics, that ain't aggressive, bud. Holy,
I tell you now,
man.
I get so much shit from this man. Yeah, for my own good, but for my own good.
I'm fucking like cringing out of my skin right now. I don't like
him, yeah, because I'm normally a little bit more boisterous.
Out, dude. Yeah, I don't know. Good thing they pwned him. And that, ladies and germs. And I tweeted out, I was like, again? I genuinely could not believe it. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was the Sicko Segment. Okay, / AEW kind of double or nothing news. Okay, we combined them together in a very special. That was the intro as well to the show. That was the intro to PWT this week, guys. And we actually do have some more AEW news that we're going to get into. We're very AEW focused here tonight. And that was just the intro. Here, we'll pull this card up. And a round of applause for StreamYard's being a bitch today. I can't click through anything. Here we go. Okay. Round of applause for the intro to PWT this week, ladies and gentlemen. Sassy Girl 7824 gifted 5 pro wrestling. Oh my god, it's a huge support. There's like 250 watching. I need you guys to get like Sassy Girl, gift some memberships, become a member, or you can super chat in or hit the like or fucking check out patreon.com/pro wrestle times for a bunch of bonus videos. I recorded 2 today and StreamYard was being a bitch then too. We acknowledge you, Sassy Girl.
Acknowledge me.
AEW makes him feel like a kid again. Donald Trump, AEW fan confirmed. If I ever go to a wrestling show, it's a WWE show. Always wanted to go. WWE is sinking to a new low. We'll see. They have some legal problems. They're not innocent here either. We're going to get into it, guys. WWE Controversies is in the title. They have many controversies going on as well. He looks like Shivani's brother. Okay, shut up, chat. So we move along here, and now we will actually all together do an Ichi ni Sanda, because this is real AEW news, guys. It is not double or nothing review / Sicko segment. It is, and a lot of those sickos, I'm sorry, like all the ones trapped on the bridge, you're not lumped in with that one sicko file, and you're not fucking you're not to blame for my rant there, okay? It's not your guys' fault you got trapped on a fucking bridge, had to break into the train station to stay warm. No. But speaking of New York, Mike Johnson says that the last I heard, the current MSG management hasn't been willing to let AEW in the facility. We will see if and when that changes. It ain't going to change, okay? It is not going to change any time soon, unfortunately, and that's why you cannot reclaim New York. You never fucking ran New York. I run New York. Right? So speaking of pipe dreams that people want to have happen, or other business moves, rather. Let's get into some business moves. Making Tony Khan moves. Got a really cool painting and some too big for my feet shoes. So AEW, WBD, and TikTok are collaborating on a special TikTok live event ahead of Dynamite on May 27th, titled AEW Advance, hosted by Arcady Aura and Lexi Nair. So they're collaborating. Thank you, TikTok and AEW. Good night. You guys remember when he said that? So we move along here. And when asked, okay, that's Tony Khan. We're going to quote Tony Khan and all of this business stuff in a minute. But in roster news, okay, we're doing rosters and just tidbits of information and whatnot. Kota Ibushi has announced plans to build a new pro wrestling venue amid his AEW injury absence. So shout out Kota Ibushi. I hope he does that. I'm sure he can teach people how to wrestle tremendously. He's fucking washed and broken up, but Tone wants to pay him. That's cool. AJ Styles was asked who in AEW would he have a dream match with if he could. And Kenny Omega, or AJ Styles, pardon me, said the same dream match with everybody wants me to have is with Kenny Omega. The match that's never going to happen unless something crazy happens, and I can't imagine that. Kenny's my buddy, so to be in the ring with him would be fun, and we'd tear the house down. I have no doubt about that. New dude about it, but again, that's not going to happen. So he just said it definitively. That will never happen. Paul White says that he personally is pushing to bring AEW to the UK for more televised events. So again,
just in from Phil Marks of PWT. He says, I told you so.
Like, this is what you should have been doing years ago, and Big Show's got to push for it. What the fuck? And he says that they've had great success over there. He wants to do more shows there. They should tape some of their fucking televisions there. Tape a month of television or a couple weeks or whatever. But again, hopefully it happens. But FTR, okay, they are approaching the option year of their AEW deal. And again, are we dropping bombs? I said it 100 times. I'll say it again. 2027 is going to be a fun year for AEW. Now, FTR, when I initially said that as well, I don't know. Are they might have been still wishful and hopeful and people like, oh, it'd be cool if they went back to WWE now that Trips is in charge. But now I just don't think so. I think FTR has like ingratiated themselves within the fucking AEW community really well and gone to bat for them and Tone and everything. So I think, I think they'd be happier there. But FTR approaching their option year. Sources describe FTR as believing their value and consistency should place them among AEW's top-tier acts financially. There's also reportedly been at least preliminary interest from WWE communicated through mutual contacts as the situation draws attention internally. Now, again, Body Slam could be fucking lying. Like, they lost 100 fucking employees recently. You know what I'm saying? And they could just be making shit up. I don't think Body Slam's ever been accused of like being in AEW's pocket until recently when Famous Davis and all of these people, like that podcast got Famous Davis and people in trouble and they had to leave Body Slam. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it could just be floated out there by FTR. Like FTR could have went to Body Slam or had one of their people leak something out and then say like WWE's interested because then they can work Tony Khan for more money. That's totally fine that's the case. It sucks that this shit gets blown up for the fans. However, why would FTR, and I know this has been said, like you guys are going to be like, wow, cold take there, Phil, because this has been said by everybody, but it's because it's the accurate, it's like, oh, that water's wet, right? Unless it's frozen, but then I hold it in my hand and it's still wet. It's like fucking no shit. Why would FTR go to WWE right now? They got rid of Motor City. They fucking, and people think they might bring in Enzo and Cass. We'll talk about that later. I think they should, but again, they will be brought in for cheaper than FTR, likely what they're looking for, what Tony will give them, which would just incentivize them to stay. right? It's like, why would they go there when tag teams aren't really a focal point and aren't going to be seemingly the way WWE's doing stuff, and tag teams are a focal point the way like two singles just end up teaming up type shit. So I don't know. I just think it would be better for FTR to stay put where they're at. So again, Tony Khan, and we are going to talk about some Tony Khan cringe and cope over, WB and all of that stuff. But just to jump ahead a little bit, or not jumping ahead because it has to do with the roster, Tone did say that Jim Ross has some health challenges, and AEW stood by him throughout and supported him however they can. And yeah, watching Mox matches will take some years off your fucking life due to boredom, No. He doesn't want to force JR to travel to every show and is hoping he'll be able to continue rising above the challenges, but you still make him travel to watch Mox matches. So that's ineffective. Use your money a better way. Let me just check in with chat here quick. I see we got 613 for 2. Sweet says, run the likes up, chat. Yeah, run those goddamn likes. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to take a sip of some Java here. Give me 1 second. Oh, yeah, that's the good shit. We move along here. Again, just a jam-packed fucking show tonight here, folks. So, Darby Allin revealed that he's getting married the day before Forbidden Door next month, June 27th. So congratulations to Darby Allin. And again, he's dropping his title. He's going to go away on a little honeymoon. It's just all too predictable and premeditated. And he's saying this before the pay-per-view. So it's like, okay, before Forbidden Door. So you're dropping your title at this shit and then doing your wedding and fucking, I don't know, man. Round of applause for him. I'm not trying to poo-poo on his parade, but let's be real here. So, Tony Khan, we talked about at Double or Nothing. It was a solid pay-per-view, but he should be doing less pay-per-views overall, I think, and it would be more effective. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in my review, but my overall feeling is you'll draw more houses and have more nights that feel like that if you cut back on the pay-per-views. Well, Tony Khan says, nay, Phil Marks, we're coming to your neck of the woods, Montreal. Okay, and as announced by the Toronto Sun, AEW is returning to Canada this summer with a brand new pay-per-view, and it's called Redemption. And man, okay, name, whatever. I'm sure every wrestling company that's ever existed ever has used the name Redemption. The logo's cool. AI could come up with that in 4 seconds. Do you need to add more pay-per-views? I don't know. I think the only reason he'd do this is because when he's not on Paramount or WBD is what I mean to say, after the Paramount merger, and he's no longer on television at all or in the capacity of TNT TBS, and he transitions to my AEW, and we're about to talk about all of that in just a moment. I believe that he will still sell pay-per-views. Like he'll be able to get on fucking Triller or whatever. He'll have outlets to sell pay-per-views, and then also you'll be able to buy them directly off of my AEW or buy the membership, and then you get the fucking, and they're just going to run it on there. And it's just unfortunate that he's trying to kayfabe and straight face like everything's okay. But it is in Tone's world, I guess. So maybe he's not really lying because he's a billionaire and he doesn't give a fuck. But ultimately, they need to cut back on pay-per-views, but they're fucking adding them. And corny ones at that, and you have Forbidden Door, which is like the hashtag, everybody Forbidden Door, Forbidden Door, Forbidden Door. They make it into a show and nobody cares now. It's like, damn, should focus on like making Double or Nothing great again instead of focusing on trying to build another pay-per-view. Like, what about making sure All In and All Out are great like they once were, I don't know, man. But I think he's just trying to bulk up the content because then on my AEW, he has a bunch of fucking content. And it's just to incentivize people to go there, much like Patreon.com. right? I got some content going up on there. I did a 3.5-hour bonus Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week show, and that's to incentivize people to go over there. So Platinum Max Caster, and a little bit of controversy here. Okay. And AEW has some controversies too. Okay. Don't let the title fool you of this show. It's not just WWE and the shits, it is AEW as well. And Max Caster posted this about Beyond Wrestling. He says, "My new home, proud to be a part. The only place you'll see the best wrestler alive, TM, every week." And it's like, dude, that's so sad. You know, it's so sad. Caster had it, man. He had something. You know, I think Bowens is good. I think them together were really good. And, you know, he could do a freestyle every show and fucking go viral for it, whether you love it or hate it. He's not a bad wrestler either. He has somewhat of a good look. Those rap music videos, diss tracks he was doing every week, those were awesome. They ended up on the fucking YouTube shows or on Rampage or Collision, just stuffed in. And he would pay for those himself and take the time to do them himself. I fucking promise you, Tony Khan did not pay for those, and they brought them to TV, and Tony just aired them whenever, and it never got over. Waste everybody's fucking time. But Max Caster, he's like the only place you'll see the best wrestler alive, and he just filed to trademark Volume 2. So this is like Volume 2, my run. I'm going to go back into the man I used to be. Right? He goes back to like doing the raps, whatever, on the indies though. Volume 2. Is Tone letting this guy go? Is his contract up? Is he choosing not to renew it? Is he saying the only place you'll see me? Like, this seems desperate, like a plea, like a cry for help. The only place you'll see me is on Beyond Wrestling. Whoa, Tone, get your shit under control. Like, fuck. And this is a guy they could have developed, and they fucking fumbled him. And he got over. The only people to ever get over on Dark and Dark Elevation was Athena, got herself more over on there, and the Acclaimed got themselves over on Dark and Dark Elevation. And what the fuck happened? Nothing. Tone squandered both of those. So he's going to be on Beyond Wrestling. I guess check that out. They obviously didn't sign him to any exclusive shit. If he ends up in NXT or fucking, you know, WWE one day, I'm sure that could happen. But for the time being, he's going to be at Beyond Wrestling, I guess. So shout out Max Caster. And yeah, so we are going to get into some more shit. I think we're going to get into the Tony Khan stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Tony Khan, Chris Jericho. So, we are going to talk about Tony Khan being Cringe, Paramount, them getting sued, all of this stuff. Chat saying Beyond Wrestling's affiliated with WWE ID program. Awesome. Then maybe he's teasing something. Maybe he'll end up in NXT or some shit. I'd be down with it. He should, honestly. He should get the fuck out of AEW. But that just seems like more disgruntled employee shit. You know what I mean? So I asked you guys in the poll, what did you grade AEW Double or Nothing? 20%. We are going to stop this poll. So 20% of you voted A, 27% voted B, 20% voted C, and 33% voted D. Oh, come on now, Eric. That's not very fair.
Oh, come on now, Eric.
That's pretty savage, man. You guys voted it a D? Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. So let's get into some stuff here. So we have a couple controversies, and then we're going to get into the Tone stuff, okay? I actually have a few more here for you guys. So Mance Warner, Okay, AEW Wrestling said Mance Warner will unfortunately not be appearing at AEW Homecoming per AEW's request. We are immediately restructuring the show accordingly and will announce updates as soon as possible. So Tone was asked about it, and he was like, no, I never seen this. I said he could wrestle for you. He goes, that's the first that I've heard of this, and it's the first time anyone in AEW's office has heard of it. He's welcome to do your show. Right? And then Mance Warner was like, want to clarify the situation. And this is the thing too. Mance is a guy like no controversy. He's just cool because he's like, I drink beer, I fight for a living, life is good and shit, right? He goes to AEW immediately. He's in some fucking whack ass controversy like this. You know what I mean? He's got to deal with like fucking Tony Khan, just not like miscommunications and fucking people not. Oh man, it's just so funny. So he goes, my rate was never agreed upon. I sent $400 to the promoter to cover the flight costs. I'm sorry to any fans who are looking forward to seeing me at AEW. With transparency, I made a decision to withdraw from the show to avoid any % chance of travel issues or any fuck ups ruining a big opportunity. I hope y'all can understand. So there you go. Right? So in other roster news, right? Mick Foley's All Elite, buddy. It's official. Mick Foley's All Elite, right? And he'll be doing some pre-shows. My friend JJ Alexander believes that Mick Foley is going to wrestle a hardcore match against MJF. And he's all mad about some shit that isn't even a reality yet, but it's funny to hear him rant about it. And he firmly believes that Mick Foley's going to do a hardcore match. I thought for sure Mick Foley would come out during the Darby MJF match and like hit the Sicko move on MJF, but then Wardlow returns. Everyone thinks he's going to jump MJF too, but then he fucking knocks Foley into a table at ringside or just like clotheslines him or something, like nothing crazy, you know, which I know a table to the floor seems crazy, but for Mick, that's like whatever, you know, it's like eating breakfast. So I thought something like that would happen, or just like a Sicko coffin splash fucking something like that, especially when he got kicked in the balls. I was like, okay, he might get involved in this shit. But Paul Walter Hauser, again, sticking up for AEW, and he's like, they said the same thing about Sting, that he shouldn't wrestle again, right? And most people are like, Mick should never wrestle again. I don't want to see him wrestle again. And I don't know if JJ's right or wrong, but if he's in a fucking hardcore match, I don't like that either. That scares me. And when would they do it? You know, have him be the commissioner. He's already done that gimmick in the Attitude Era. Just make him the GM and have his boiler room office set up, and then have fucking him be like, nope, you come to me, but you don't go see Tony Khan. You go through me type shit. Anyways, Eric Bischoff. Oh, come on now, Eric. That's not very fair. A healthy Mick Foley should be able to fly through flaming tables. You can save money on flaming tables if you use the link down below. And so Eric Bischoff is begging for Mick Foley not to have another match.
So, Eric, I do want to ask you about...
Shout out 83 weeks. So, Eric, I want to ask you about Mick Foley not having a fucking tan at Starrcade 9-7, Eric.
The other big news this week, this caught a lot of people by surprise. AEW has a big pay-per-view this weekend. That's on Sunday. Saturday night's main event for WWE is happening on Saturday. So it's an absolutely loaded wrestling weekend this Memorial Day weekend. But the Sunday show has an interesting main event. It's Darby Allin versus MJF. The AEW title's on the line versus MJF's hair. And normally, 0 Hour, which is normally called Buy-In on Double or Nothing, sort of a gambling themed show. They have Renee Paquette, RJ City, and Jeff Jarrett. But it was announced that the host this weekend of the Buy-In will be Renee and Mick Foley, who was taken to social media to announce that he is now All Elite. He wrote, I'm extremely happy to be making my debut with AEW, joining Renee on the Double or Nothing pre-show. Looking forward to seeing Tony Khan for the first time in many years. We had lunch 15 years ago and meeting up with AEW's amazing...
Mick Foley's like, Tony, no, what I didn't say All Elite. I said all you can eat. Bang, bang.
Amazing roster. And of course, this week, MJF was making the circuit, doing lots of different interviews and podcasts and things like that in order to promote the pay-per-view this weekend. And he was asked about Foley and he drew a comparison to Darby Allin, which I thought was interesting. Well, since we've been here recording, or here's the quote from MJF. I think Mick Foley is fat and he's ugly. I think he was the blueprint of what Darby Allin is now, which makes me hate him even more. That's what I think of Mick Foley. And it's no secret that once upon a time, Mick Foley and MJF liked the idea of if Foley did do one last match, maybe it could be against MJF.
Oh God, Conrad, don't. No, I'm doing the same thing. We're Fantasy Mark booking it. I don't want it to happen. If it does, I wouldn't be shocked. Okay. I just I don't want to see it.
Well, the idea that this is all happening this weekend and MJF is in the main event, people are drawing conclusions and speculating. And on the media call today, Tony Khan was actually asked about this. And here's what he had to say.
Might I say, Eric, Mick Foley looked awfully tanned.
Tony Khan was asked, see if I can find this here, to what extent the involvement he anticipates Mick Foley having in AEW, and would he be open to seeing him perform in the ring? And Tony said he suggested the co-hosting spot for the buy-in to Foley. He thought it was a great idea, and he's thrilled about it. And right now they're focused on Foley broadcasting and lending his experience to AEW. Tony Khan says he can't speak for Foley as to whether he wants to wrestle, but if he ever does, he'd love to see him do it in AEW. He also does not want to put him in a situation where he's uncomfortable. So that's the right answer from Tony Khan. But what do you make of this? Mick Foley being all elite, and do you think we'll see Mick Foley wrestle at some point in AEW?
I think Mick Foley as a part of the AEW brand is a great idea. He's such a talented guy. He's so good on the mic. He's a great storyteller. He knows instinctively how to get people over. You don't have to teach him anything. He can ad-lib, improv, follow a script. He's a really super talented guy. And obviously the name and face value, the credibility, the legacy that comes with him has great value. Please don't get in the ring. Please don't do that, Nick.
Too late, Eric. I was kicked in the balls. Bang, bang. Have a nice day.
I'll support him whatever he does because I really, really respect Mick. But I hope, because I respect Mick, that he allows us the privilege of remembering Mick when he was able to do some unbelievable things in the ring. That's the memory I think most people want of Mick Foley.
So, Eric, I do want to ask you.
So there you go. Okay, so Edge and Christian are crushing it right now. Time Cop. And they're doing this funny segment with the disposable cameras. And I don't know, the crowd's super in. This is what I mean. Like, the crowd was there for MJF. They were there for Edge and Christian. That's what they were there for. So in other controversy, sorry for the scrollings, we have more controversy surrounding some AEW wrestlers with some of their comments and statements. And MVP, again, for the millionth time, he went nuclear on Triple H. And Machiavelli DTA says, is this getting to Bret Hart and Goldberg bitterness levels? Anybody else tired of this?
And if Triple H is in charge, then I definitely want to be here. Because I don't like Triple H. I don't respect Triple H. I think he's a coward and a liar. And there have been many situations where he was dealing with Bobby, where he didn't have to tell Bobby the truth about what creatively what he wanted to do. There were multiple times that I tried to talk to him, and he would always, "I'll get with you in a little bit," or the few times that I got a chance to get him in his office alone, he would call somebody to come in. He didn't want to be alone. I don't respect that. Tell me. I'm a professional. Tell me how you feel. We'll do business based on that. You gotta like me. There's lots of people throughout my career that I've worked with that I don't like. We're making money. We're doing business. Yeah. So having said,
yeah, so I don't know, man. This doesn't seem like it does seem actually. It seems like fucking Goldberg Bret Hart bitterness level. It does, absolutely. It's in the same category. It's just a beef you'll never let go of, and some people won't get tired of hearing about. Like every time Bret Hart or Goldberg brings each other up, it's fucking funny. When Bret Hart was on the Hogan doc and he's saying what he was saying about Hogan, it's fucking funny. MVP, he's not a fan of Triple H. I'm surprised there aren't more people out there saying shit like this about Triple H. Because you got to remember, this goes beyond just you're my boss. It goes to they were talents together at a time when people thought MVP should be getting a push, right? What was Triple H doing? Brought back DX and top of the card against Cena and fucking those sorts of things. And MVP, I might have said MJF by accident. I apologize. MVP went to like Nuge and won the IC title and shit. Like he had to do all of that. He had to make a name for himself again outside of WWE. But is it just bitter old guy shit? I mean, yeah, it is. It is what it is. I mean, I don't like MVP any less because that's his opinion. I don't like Triple H any less because of that opinion either. Okay? Got to be able to separate the two. Now I'm going to rip Tone a new asshole here, but we are going to do that in a classy way. We're going to start with what's called a compliment sandwich, except for we're going to front load it with two nice things that Tone's done recently, okay? So we will get into this here. The dogs are attacking Edge and Christian. I like that for their next opponents. It just sucks that every single thing ever in AEW is just Edge and Christian get beat down. They get beat down. Like it's just heels beat down, heels beat down. That's the catalyst of everything. And so I'm cool with this, and they were cutting it up, and this is a long ass fucking segment of just in-ring character work and stuff, but it's good, man. This is entertaining. This is sports entertainment. This is a good position. I don't know if Finley wanted to come to AEW to be a fucking tag champ again. But when you're working with Edge and Christian, you're not crying about it too much, right? Like, this is a good look. Like, these are pretty solid opponents. But of course, they just got to make fun of the 5-second pose or the 4-second pose or whatever. So, okay. All right, let's get into now. It is time for everybody's new favorite segment, and it is called The Best Guy is Tony Mick Khan. Okay.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
And so Tony Khan, he has bracelets that AEW will have in support of Rebel. So we're going to start this with two nice things about Tone, and then we're just going to dive deep in all the controversies that he's caught up in and all the Paramount stuff and my AEW stuff. So Tony Khan also noted he would like to put together a Fight for the Fallen event benefiting ALS research, and that's good, and best energies and prayers and thoughts and everything towards Rebel. Right? She's going through it, and it's good. Tone. Everybody what's that South Park? Everybody has a cause for a cause, right? AEW reached out today to make sure there was a way for Vladimir to watch Double or Nothing from the hospital since he can no longer attend in person after his fall. So this is a pro wrestling superfan. Vladimir, WWE just dropped the documentary about him on the WWE Vault channel, which fucking rules. And AEW reached out to him, according to Mike Johnson of PWI. He says, a big thank you to everyone from their team for the kindness. Okay, so shout out Tone, right? Doing some good stuff. Now he's about to fuck up and say a bunch of dumb stuff and tease things and be weird and cringe. Are you guys ready? Chat, I said, are you ready?
Guy is Tony Khan.
So Tony Khan talks Paramount buying WBD, and he says, I really believe that TBS, TNT, and HBO Max are all going to come out of this much stronger. So let's hear his side of things. Now, I've heard an allegedly, okay, and this isn't fucking Nicolo Piccolo saying this. This is a fucking allegedly. That he, well, Nick said the same thing, but I've heard this elsewhere, okay, guys? I'm not a dirt sheet. I'm a cartoon. It doesn't matter. It's Animaniacs. Listen, apparently, like, other people are like, why is he fucking kayfabing? Like, why is he kayfabing everything's okay when he knows shit Like, clearly he's setting up my AEW to be on my AEW and YouTube. He's told people that. Like, this is what is allegedly being floated around. I don't know, right? Listen to Nicolo Piccolo if you don't believe me. Whatever. So here's Tone just talking about it. And this was the press conference. The shitty volume level is on their end.
It's done. And
I have it cranked the fuck up.
And so
like Dave Meltzer watching a New Japan match. I'm fucking cranked up. Look how Tone looks to the camera too after he says it.
So it's going.
Did you get that? Did you get that on camera for me? I swear what I'm saying is true.
To happen. And the really exciting thing is I'm very excited about who's the buyer. It's very, very good for us. And I'm so glad that Paramount is going to be joining us here and that Paramount is going to be assuming control. I think it's fantastic to have David.
What did he just say? It's okay. What
control? I think it's fantastic joining us here and that Paramount is going to be assuming control.
See, he's like, I think Paramount's going to assume control and it's going to be good. And the thing is, like, he knows he's been tipped off to this as well. Okay. And when Nicolo Piccolo put that out there, they had to make it about WWE because they're trying to babyface themselves. And I don't think Nicolo Piccolo's lying. Now, we're going to like prove this more and more as we go throughout this segment. So I hope you guys are locked in. Okay.
It's fantastic to have David Ellison coming in here. He's been a fantastic leader. He's already doing great things with Paramount, and also to have him come here. I believe he's a great filmmaker. I've worked with him with NFL and Skydance. He's been a visionary with Skydance Sports. We've done multiple documentaries with NFL Films. I'm on the fan engagement.
Remember the one they did about Tone and the neck brace?
Events committee of the NFL, and Skydance has been a great partner for the NFL, and now CBS and Paramount's a great partner for the NFL. I think it's going to be great.
See, Tone thinks that when it comes to outside of the NFL, or maybe he doesn't think this, but people maybe assume that because they've had dealings in the NFL, like, here's the thing, they have to deal with Tone because of the nepotism that got him to where he fucking is in the NFL in these different positions. They're forced to deal with Tone. Ellison's forced to deal. Skydance is forced to deal with Tone. Okay. And I'm sure a bunch of people there probably like him and shit. It's not like he's a fucking bad guy, but like now when it boils down to business partnerships, that's going to be different, right? They're in business with the NFL. You're a proxy of that. By proxy, they deal with you because of your positioning in the NFL. It's not like they're going to. Ari Emanuel is Ellison's advisor for the last 15 years, dude. His personal advisor. Personal and private advisor. Like, what the fuck do you think he's advising him? You know, 2-cup Tone. Fuck.
TBS and TNT. TBS and TNT will be stronger. The late, great Ted Turner dreamed of buying CBS and wanted to buy CBS.
Ted Turner, who Tone said didn't know 1% of wrestling that he does, and WCW still would have been alive. And we stand on his shoulders. And Ted Turner wanted fucking to work with CBS and shit. So I'm going to do that. Like, fuck you, man.
Now CBS and TBS and TNT will all live under the same roof, and that's great. I think it's also great keeping everything together under one roof, which was, if things had gone the other way, that's not what was going to happen. They were going to split up TBS and TNT from HBO Max. I don't think that would have been in the best interest of everybody. I also think it's going to be better for everybody at TBS and TNT now to have everything under one roof. And
like, and what is he even saying? Everything under one roof. Shut what? Like what? Shut the fuck up. What are you babbling about?
Have the leadership coming in with a vision and a plan. I feel like people at Paramount are excited about what's happening there. And I do think now for all of us, I'm very optimistic. We have somebody coming in who's the same age as I am, who watches wrestling and and I think this is going to be a good thing. I think it'll be the first time since Ted Turner that there's been a supreme commander at the top of the whole studio.
Oh my God. A supreme commander.
And also it'll be the first time to have a network under our umbrella. And that's something really powerful. And this will be the closest as far as programming wise to have AEW living under the same licensing as the NFL. So I'm
what does that? Who cares? What the fuck does that matter? You're like a weird kid, overly violent kids wrestling show. Not a football team, you know?
Excited about it. And, you know, we've been doing some really, really exciting things in terms of new partnerships, trying to grow AEW. You saw, like, you know, we're doing the Brawl in the Ballpark with the Minnesota Twins and the MLB. We've got the collaboration coming out with the NFL on the masks for all 32 teams now that we launched at the NFL draft. You saw Swerve at the NFL draft representing the Jaguars and AEW. And I think there's going to be more collaborations and more exciting things we're going to be able to do in the future. And I really believe that TBS, TNT, and HBO Max are all going to come out of this much stronger. And I think
Yeah, they will. They will. But what about fucking AEW?
based on HBO Max and TBS and TNT all staying under one roof, I think we're all going to be better off than if they had been split up under.
Oh, so he was talking about the actual. Okay. Well, yeah, they're all under one roof. But like, what if you're not allowed in the fucking building anymore, buddy? Like, this is the question. He just doesn't really answer the question, but it's just softballed to him by some fucking mark. Okay. And so Tone was asked, is AEW now profitable? Tony Khan said revenue is the highest it's ever been, and this is the strongest financial outlook for the company. So the answer is no, we are not fucking profitable. This has been our most revenue, but we're not profitable. And this is why Dave Meltzer is a bad thing for AEW. Okay, because he sits there and says, oh, yeah, 3.6 million rolling in,
Just
Brian.
in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
That's what Dave said, 3.6 million every week. The money's flowing in, so they're spending it, big money. Meanwhile, look at this Dynamite setup. Look how cheap every show is in AEW. It's just any indie can do this with just the LED screens. Like every fucking indie fed can do this now. It's not even that expensive. They're not spending the money other than on the wrestlers, but they've already spent too much on a bunch of these fucking wrestlers, and they're not profitable. And that's not a bad thing. It's just what's the bad thing is Dave trying to convince people of something that's unrealistic, kind of like what Tone was doing there. Trying to convince people like, oh, we'll be stronger because we're all under the same roof. What the fuck does that affect you if they don't want you on TBS or TNT or whatever? How does that affect you any? It's fucking nutty, man. Like, that's not even answering the question. And so, again, Tony doesn't answer the question, but they're not profitable. Okay? They're doing their best revenue. Good for them. They're not profitable, though. They never have been. Not a bad thing. It's just that when Dave and the Sickos want to fucking stand on the rooftops and pretend they are, it just makes them look stupid at the end of the day. And I protect and defend Tone more than anybody, I feel. Okay? I go blue in the fucking face defending this guy. Right? But talking about Paramount and whatnot, Tony Khan was asked if he's been able to see what tier of my AEW subscribers are leaning towards. And he says he doesn't have all the data in front of him, but he's been told everything is going very strong. He'll be reviewing a lot of the data coming out of Double or Nothing. Now, what else did they announce on my AEW? They announced that 1FW is on my AEW. Also, Ring of Honor's on there. Also, their old discontinued YouTube podcasts are on there. Why wouldn't you upload the pods to YouTube for discoverability? Why wouldn't you do that? And why would you just cancel them? You don't want to pay people to do them. They don't do good numbers, but you're trying to use them to incentivize and bolster up more content on my AEW. You're not just doing this for the international fans. They're currently uploading a bunch of shit and a bunch of feds on there because they're going to be like, holy fuck, everybody subscribe and you get access to this fed and all of our pay-per-views 30 days after, whatever the fuck. All of our pods are on here in North America. They're going to roll this out. 100%. Why the fuck would 1FW, which is QT Marshall's promotion, I'm pretty sure. Why the fuck would 1FW cut a deal other than, yes, it's QT Marshall, right? But hey, some of our developmental guys, like some of the guys he trains, they might appear on here first. I bet you MLW will cut the deal if they haven't already. And 1FW is like an American indie. Like they're not, unless I'm mistaken, they're not some fucking international fed. Why would you want to bring eyeballs to that particularly? You know, it only makes sense because one, it's your friend. Two, some of the guys he trains pops up there. And three, you guys are bulking it up because you're going to sell everybody in North America on the fact that there's indies on here. There's I said MLW. I meant to say MLP, Maple Leaf Pro. Maple Leaf Pro is on here. Maybe MLW. And here's the thing. MLW brought their show, what's it called? Fusion back or whatever, right? And it's on Saturdays. And it's like, and I don't know if it's weekly or what, but they are also partnered with Nuge, Stardom, CMLL. So why doesn't MLW just partner with AEW, get their show on my AEW as well? It seems like that is the direction Tone is getting ready to go in. And obviously it's going to be rolled out in the Americas because he's fucking shot with the whole Paramount thing. Now, Niccolo Piccolo breaks down some stuff, and he's been on the forefront of a lot of this craziness, and he starts digging through their lawsuits. We'll talk about this in a minute, but Tony Khan again, he says Paramount acquiring WBD will be great for AEW. Then this comes out, and this is Portal HBO Max. This is via Reuters, okay, and they, I think, are reputable, right? Let me just type it in. I'm asking AI if is Reuters reliable? That's the first thing when you type Reuters in. Widely considered one of the most reliable, unbiased, and trusted news organizations. Okay, and other people posted stuff about this. I believe Deadline or one of these other Forbes or some shit wrote something about this as well. Okay, so approval of the WBD, and if you look at the entertainment world. Okay, this has been talked about for a while now. This has been ongoing, and Hollywood, a bunch of actors don't want the sale to go through. However, it seems as though Paramount has the ear of the DOJ and the government and blah, 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 and certain aspects of entertainment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we've talked about this a bunch on this show, and you guys already know, right? So, and again, media, they're leaning a little bit more conservative. The Ellisons are down with Trump and all the fucking, if you want to make those connections, right? And so this has been going on for a while. So, approval of the WBD sale agreement to Paramount Skydance is close to receiving its approval in the United States. And there was a quote, and I think I have it bookmarked I do. But after the company's statements and a meeting, the DOJ does not see that the union of the two companies negatively affects other studios or creative talents. Therefore, approval of the agreement without addendums should happen at any moment. And I think I bookmarked it, but Famous Davis had this to say. Now you see why Dave Zaslav, gave TK the heads up while y'all were thinking it's illegal because it can't occur until 27. And again, it was just a friendly business gesture. Okay? Hey, dude, this is what's going on. And on not just the AEW side, but and the WBD side, rather, on the Paramount side, I guess there was talks of like, hey, we want to close this out by summer. Like they were saying this shit. Okay? And Niccolo Piccolo was saying this too. That they know they want to close this deal by summer. So yes, it could take a while. And even I was like, dude, this is taken way longer than I think most people at face level thought. Like, think about it. Netflix rolled out ads and sent emails that they were going to acquire Warner Bros. And then it turned into what it is today. So Famous Davis says, we're out here telling you Paramount Skydance is trying to finalize WBD acquisition by the summer or September 26th at the latest. So when people are like, oh, they might not take the option and it'll be new ownership. Yeah, they might just own it before. They might just own the shit right away and go, yeah, we're not going to renew that. And Zaslav maybe tried to help Tone out. And maybe it was fucked for Niccolo Piccolo to fucking leak all that out there or whatever. I don't know how you want to word it, but Tone's out there keeping kayfabe, like straight face telling everybody everything's okay when he might end up on my AEW. And maybe he's just optimistic about that. But I've heard allegedly he's like, he's straight up. People are like, why are you lying to the locker room and shit? That's what they're thinking, you know? So, and it's just like his bad booking ideas. You're not going to turn shit around again. The first ever Superstation showcase. Trying to be like, we're about the station, the Superstation showcase. It's a fatal four-way, asshole. Like, you're not convincing anybody. The fucking My AEW title is going to replace the TBS and TNT titles or what? I just don't understand, you know? The logistics aren't there. And so AEW's found themselves in some legal troubles. Niccolo Piccolo posted this. I actually don't really know what's going on with these. I just quickly bookmarked them, and he says, have these been posted anywhere publicly? Interesting reads. So we take a look here, and All Elite Wrestling plaintiff Flips Media. So I guess Flips Media wasn't paid by AEW. So Flips, a broadcast technology company, contracted and agreed to distribute wrestling content for AEW, professional wrestling league, through its digital media platforms. The parties entered several agreements for Flips' distribution of AEW pay-per-views, both domestically and internationally, and for AEW subscription services, AEW Plus, that include live streaming for AEW's content and weekly wrestling shows. Defendants distributed AEW's content through their media streaming platform known as Fight. So this actually just has to do, so AEW didn't get paid or whatever the fuck. And so I don't know. Nick's just asking, were these posted? Like, I guess he's just calling out the sheets. Like, why isn't any dirt sheets posting about this? I don't fucking know. And then here's one. He says, anyway, here's the complaint itself. It is publicly available through Duval County Core Records. I did take time to blur out the 2019 phone number listed under Tony's signature block, as well as the EIN routing number and account numbers in the invoices. Nothing herein is intended to be negative. It is a legal document filed by AEW itself through public record search. So what does it say? This guy says, if I saw this in any contract with a company, so they got some messed up like online. I mean, that's not a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. He's just focusing. Go and check out Nick if you want to see whatever legal troubles Tone and them are in. But that aside, right, we're talking about the logistics and the business side of things. And Tony Khan, he was talking about this WrestleMania type weekend thing, and he was asked about it a couple times. And let's take a listen to what he said. And look at these cornball ass faces he's making, winking his eyebrows and shit. He's going to run something Saudi weekend. He's letting everybody know now. He's the worst poker player ever.
But next April, there's no domestic wrestling weekend in the United States.
What a retarded thing to say. There's no domestic wrestling weekend in the United States. So, like, nobody in the United States is holding a show? Like, listen to that. It's just like, say WWE. These are pre-written questions, softballed, pre-checked, and lobbed to Tony Khan to make it appear as though he's facing the noise man and he'll answer the questions man. Listen to that stupid, dumb fucking question. There's no domestic wrestling weekend that... So Collision's not on that month in April, you know? Like, no weekend is there a couple fucking wrestling shit. What the fuck are you even talking about? You dumb idiot. You mean to say there's no WrestleMania? Do you think you can fill the void in the States? The answer, we already know what it is. It's nope. We're going to have to deal with Dave Meltzer melting down in papered houses. Ugh.
But next April, there's no domestic wrestling weekend in the United States.
Yet.
With the success... But next April, there's no domestic wrestling weekend in the United States.
Yet.
With the success...
Yeah. We're not doing it yet. Okay. Let's see if it works out. I hope it works out, man, but what about Forbidden Door? Like, it's all going to lie on AEW's back. They can't even get 20,000 people at a fucking place anymore. You know? All In isn't even at 30,000 fucking tickets sold yet, I don't think, in the UK. I just don't know if just Tony Khan. And then he's adding more pay-per-views like Redemption. Why the fuck would everybody turn out and go to a state or go to some city that they're in, and then all these indies have to run around that weekend? People are going to shit all over it, man. They won't be able to charge the wrestlers as much. Tone should really build this from the ground up. He should attempt it, but just do it a different weekend that works logistically better for Tone, and not the WrestleMania weekend. Fuck that weekend. Just do it some other time. and just start slowly building this thing to give them a second opportunity. And if WWE wants to fuck off to Saudi, they can. And if they are in the States, then the indies get 2 weekends. Because what happens if you do this and then WrestleMania's in the States the next year and then you just don't do one again? So you were just their cuck. You were just the placeholder bitch for WWE. And now you're going to go sit back in the corner in the fucking cuck chair and watch them fucking reap all the benefits of you. Like, I'm telling you right now, the people who think they're giving Tone, and Tone, with his little fucking cocky smirk, he thinks they're ass backwards. You guys are not doing the right thing.
Tony Khan.
I'm telling you right now, you're not giving Tone the right advice. This has to be something built independently with WrestleMania not in mind. Okay? But I hope they fucking prove me wrong. I hope to God Tone pulls up somewhere, 50,000 people come from across the country and the world, and then you have fucking 50,000 excess wrestling fans wherever you're at, and people can afford to do all that. Like, let me ask you a question. Do you think Joey Janela versus Brody Lee does a crowd like that, and they bring all those wrestlers in and Mick Foley and Sandman to do the fucking retirement match? They do all that because WrestleMania is not there that week and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you need WrestleMania. It's the allure of Mania. If they were going to do this, they would have did it when they went to All in Texas. Someone who, they would have shifted the economy, right? And this isn't even hate on AEW. This isn't hate on anyone, really. It's just trying to point out like how people can't do math. It's like, no, you don't get it. This WrestleMania was shitty and doom and gloom, and it fell off, and it was right. And they had 50,000 people go to that WrestleMania. Okay, Tone does All in Texas. Everyone wants to glaze it as the greatest event of all time. He papered the house like a motherfucker. There was 20,000 people there. Okay, Raws have done 19,000 people in the last year. In the last 12 months, there's been Raws that have surpassed 19,000. So what are we really talking about here? Is that shifting an economy and fucking going to make these indies have a week worth of able to pay people and everything like that? People just need to think about logistically why it does. And then you have Forbidden Door coming up, and it's Stardom and ROH and fucking Nuge and AEW. And they can't sell 5,000 tickets yet. They're still struggling to sell 5,000 tickets. So is that really what's going to be the draw? Oh, it's AEW and a bunch of indie guys. That's the problem. If you want to see AEW work with the indies, guess what? MJF's wrestling Zilla Fatu at HOG for the title. Like, why would you pay the big bucks, and how does that shift an economy when you can just like be on the indies and watch Max Caster wrestle at fucking Beyond Wrestling because he's not on TV? You know what I'm saying? Jack Perry does run-ins at indie shows and saves Marco Stunt. Like, you don't need to go to these events. Like, and I just really need them to understand. I need Tone to understand this. Okay. Nobody's telling him the right fucking things. They got to do it on their own weekend and fucking build and accept, hey, this isn't going to be shit. Because if they do it and it doesn't do the same type of economics that a fucking Mania weekend does, people are just going to clown it. And then WWE will be back in the States the year after. And what does that do? AEW's just not going to do a show. Then they were just the placeholder to do one fucking show because WWE. Like, don't make that your legacy. Everything because or everything off the back of ex WWE guys, right? So we move along, and Adrian Hernandez asked Tony Khan the same thing, and I quote tweeted this, and Adrian Hernandez got into it with me a little bit. I don't know. He just was like talking about shit I wasn't talking about. That's the worst thing on Twitter. When you like say some shit and then someone just starts saying other shit that you weren't even saying. Like, I just laid out the logistics, I didn't lay it out. I just quickly was like, they can't do this. And this isn't even hating on Adrian. This is just me seeing this video, and my response to it, I was just like, they can't do this, or they would have did it at all in Texas. It would have been like, holy fuck, 20,000 people in Texas. Let's pull up and do some indie shows. Like, they don't. Does Conrad even do StarCast anymore around? Didn't he do StarCast around AEW and All In and shit? Does he not do that anymore? Like, I don't know what's even going on with all that. Either way. And they keep talking about like a stadium show and all of these things. And it's just like, why not? I don't know. They just need to accept that if this were to happen, it would have happened like at All In, when All In came to America for the first time. It would have happened then, you know? So here's Tony Khan talking about it. And Adrian Hernandez was just like, I was at All In and it was a great time. And I was like, well, I never said it wasn't a great time. I'm sure it was a fucking fantastic. That's not what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I'm talking about how many people were fucking there, dude. So let's
With WWE going to Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania, there was a lot of conversation about, hey, we want a big show in the States, and everyone was looking at AEW. Looking at the landscape, are there plans to have a big tentpole event in the States or in North America?
I do believe in that, and I think that Revolution and Double or Nothing both are befitting of that status. So absolutely, depending on the situation, the timing, Double or Nothing and Revolution at both.
April, May, yeah, they could do Double or Nothing like in April that weekend, just switch it up. And if that's what his goal is, you know, like just do Double or don't do like Revolution or something like that. And don't make like we're the Grapple Palooza, you know, don't do anything like that. Just, yeah, use Double or Nothing or use this as the chance to change where All Out is. Or maybe not that, but All Out being a week after All In's kind of cooked too. Because All Out was like a way bigger event, it feels like, before. Whatever, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is this. It's wishful thinking. I'd love to be proven wrong on this, by the way. I would love if they fucking... If all the indies and Tone can show up and they do like this crazy big event and there's a week full worth of shows with not a bunch of verifiable bullshit, like these shows were empty and there wasn't anybody that, you know, they sold 18,000 tickets and shit.
Been so successful for us. So I think either, which again, they were voted the 2 best wrestling shows of the year by 2 of the top sports journalism outlets, if not the top 2 sports journalism outlets of all time.
So Tone flexing a little bit. So here was Tone. He was asked about MSG. And he answers how he explains what happened when he attempted to run MSG in the past. So again, these guys like Elbow, they reclaim New York. Buddy, they're not even welcome in New York. Okay. And here Tone said that they reached out to him and then called him back and were like, sorry, we can't do it. And he's laughing about it. Like, it's funny. It's like, dude, don't admit this. God damn it, man.
I'm really curious.
They think like playing the victim is the move. It's not the move, bro. Okay, it is not the move. That's what Jack Perry did. That's what Tone did when Punk dipped out. That's what the Bucks tried to do. It just left a sour taste that we're finally overcoming in some regards, you know. And some people's like, maybe you look at Tone more favorably. Maybe Jack Perry you look at more favorably. Maybe the Bucks you might look at more favorably now. It's been enough time, right?
Have you ever tried to run Madison Square Garden, and is that a possibility in the future, or is there some type of exclusivity agreement in place?
Yes, I think some of the people in here, knowing the people in the room, there's a lot of like really hardcore wrestling people, so I'm going to guess about 12 to 17 of you already know this story, so I apologize for telling a story again you already know. Actually, there was a possibility the original Dynamite was going to be there. They actually had called and asked me if I wanted to have it there. And I said, I am very interested in having it there. And then I received a phone call back saying, actually, we changed our mind, we don't want you.
Why would you just admit to getting felted like that by the WWE, dude?
It was okay, no problem. So that was the last time we talked. That was 2019.
That's 6 years ago, so that's crazy. Like, well, they wanted us there, but now it's like, now you guys are begging for us to go there. Yeah, but you wouldn't. Like the house show, the last MSG WWE house show did 17K. This show did 15 or 14,400 or whatever the fuck, dude. And that's not, I'm not saying that to undermine AEW in any way, but when the fans are like, you should run MSG, they're not going to let them do that. Don't. Like, stop focusing on. They only want him to run MSG. He runs great venues in New York already, all over New York. Well, maybe not all over, but he's been all over. You know what I'm saying? I've been everywhere, man. You don't need him to run MSG. Like, I get if you're a hardcore fan, you fucking want that, but it's like They only want that because the Fed. God damn it. And it's just like, focus on your own shit. I promise you'll accomplish way more. Okay. And again, AEW fans just mostly don't understand that. And Tone, he's one of them, you know?
Haven't we come a long way since then?
We sure have.
They did the Lucy with the football, the solid ground move.
And when they wanted him in 2019, so when AEW first started, so they were doing houses. Haven't we come a long way? Yes, your TV ratings are the worst they've ever been since 2019, and your attendances on average are the worst they've ever been. In 26, they're either in 25, I bet you it was the worst they've ever been statistically. In 26 so far, maybe it's so far beating last year or the year or maybe the year before. I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like, they have not been great, dude. Right? We have to stop like 14,000. Oh, let's take over Mania in New York, man. Whoa, dude. Slow the fuck down. They can never catch up for what these fucking sickos are demanding of them. And bragging about MSG wanting you there last fucking decade is stupid.
I smashed your knee to obliterate.
I don't even remember how old I was last decade. So the last clip we have here is Tone on the news. And this guy goes, Tony Khan making CEO moves with this appearance. And it's fucking just cringe, dude.
Trajectory that we're on with this can continue, and I'm talking specifically for wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great time in the pro wrestling business.
Oh my God, dude. He's on Bloomberg The Close. And this guy's sitting here asking him a question. He's a real fucking journalist, looking him dead in his eyes. Look at what Tony does. He looks directly at the camera and starts cutting a fucking
The
wrestling
best guys,
promo.
Tony Khan.
This guy's like, bro.
Uh-oh, retard alert. Retard alert, class.
Like, it's one of his backstage vignettes that he does before collisions.
On with this can continue, and I'm talking specifically for wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great time in the pro wrestling business. We have such great fans who watch every week. We have really great support. We're a top cable program on Wednesday nights. We have
Yeah.
a top show on Saturday nights on TNT. And also now with the streaming audience, HBO Max has helped us make new fans. Our pay-per-views on HBO Max continue to grow.
Yeah.
The past two events we've done have been the biggest ones yet on the HBO Max platform.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because with Paramount Plus and new subscribers and HBO Max coming together, I think it's going to be really an even bigger and better time for AEW and the wrestling fans.
Yeah, I am curious too. I mean, I'm a lot older than you. I mean, I'm like, you know, the Dusty Rhodes days and, you know, Jimmy Superfly Snuka and all.
He's like, oh, great wrestlers I wish I could have, but I'm actually legally not allowed to say their names. So if you could refrain, please. And he's like, well, actually, you know, Jimmy Superfly Snuka allegedly killed somebody. So he's canceled in AEW. But it's cool though. I signed his estate to a contract.
All those guys, and you know what kind of attracts you to those types of things is obviously it's very colorful, the storylines and everything else here. Have you thought about? I'm going to put you an idea. Have you ever thought about like an overlap? You know, kind of like you mash up with the NFL in some way. I don't know, maybe do a big halftime, and I mean, obviously you can't get the NFL players to commit to that during the game, but that would be kind of cool, right?
He's like, buddy, NFL players, they all go to the WrestleMania and the WWE shows. You mean George Kittle? Yeah, he's at WrestleMania, bro.
We've done a lot of great collaborations, and I think you're on to something. So just as an example,
you mean the Kelsey bros, dude? They are at WrestleMania doing run-ins.
A few weeks ago, we collaborated with PGA and TGL for AEW's Fairway to Hell, and we brought the world of golf and pro wrestling together. It was at TGL. This was our Saturday collision.
And next match, Tiger Woods is going to crash his car into Darby Allin. It's going to be great.
Show. We do it every weekend. It's TBS and TNT have the shows. You got to see.
We teamed up with the PGA and the Masters, and in fact, Chris Masters is coming back soon with Marty Skrull is his tag partner. Don't Google them, but tune in. You can't
See this show, AEW Fairway to Hell, where the wrestlers are slamming each other in the fairways, the bunkers, the wrestling ring is set up on the green.
Yeah.
It was very unique, and we can do more collaborations. And to your point, we've got AEW coming to Louis Armstrong Stadium, and the stadium stampede.
Which is a tennis stadium.
Exactly.
I don't think the tennis players are going to go for that.
Well, the locker room and everything's fair game. So we'll be in the backstage using the stadium. There's a stadium stampede, and they'll use anything that isn't nailed down. And even if it is nailed down, we'll use it. So it'll be fun.
All right, Tony. Great to have you here, Tony.
He's like, what does that mean?
Connie.
He's like, I said, I like Dusty Rhodes, motherfucker. What the fuck are you talking about?
Trajectory that we're on with this.
Tone's so cute and proud of himself. That, ladies and gentlemen, was AEW news all together. Ichi Sanda. And the best guys,
Tony Khan.
Amazing. We have more news, guys. We're going to get into some Fed stuff. There's lots of controversies surrounding the Fed right now. Not nearly as much news as in that AEW segment for the Fed. We did Sickos. We're not going to do the new segment, okay? I have a new segment, a new folder, and that'll be for another time. We'll do that Saturday, I think. And so Osprey, did you guys just see he made a joke out of the whole Death Riders thing? Oh, it's over here, bruv. Yeah, pound me fist, bruv. Actually, the match is over here, bruv. No, we go through the crowd. We're cool. We're really cool dudes. Let me see. What do we want to do next? I feel like we need to do ratings wars. There is a bunch of miscellaneous news, so we are going to have to let's do ratings wars next. But quickly, I do just want to do some TNA news before ratings wars, and then we can get into some WWE news. How about that? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's head over here to this. There's literally two quick things in TNA news. Dust off the old banjos. It is time for TNA news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's fucking go. Let's get it. So TNA World Champion Santana, it's Champions Challenge, okay? This is going down. This may have already went the fuck down. No, this is going down Thursday. So tomorrow, Time Cop, 5 versus 5, the champions in TNA, whether you're heel or babyface, teaming up against a series of challengers. And also every title will be on the line at Slammiversary. So make sure you all check those out. And here is a list of it's just pretty much free promotion for TNA. That's all I got for you guys, okay? So again, they will be in Denver, they will be in Boston, they will be in Albany, Philly, Chicago, Brampton, Ontario. They will be in San Antonio, Tampa. They'll be in Edmonton and Calgary, a live event. So it's a fucking house show they're doing in Edmonton. A TNA house show. That's pretty fucking cool, man. And then they're doing Impact. They're taping them in Calgary. So I'm probably going to pull up to one of those. Okay, WWE's coming around that way too. I think with the summer tour or whatever. I think it's just live events. So I skipped over the last time AEW came through and WWE came through with Raw and SmackDown. I skipped that too. So I'm fucking itching. I gotta go to I'm probably gonna pull up to an Impact. To the Impact taping. I'm gonna be honest. That seems like it'll be fun. So there you go. They just have a bunch of dates. Make sure you check them out. That, ladies and gentlemen, was TNA news. That was the best fucking segment of the night right there, I think. So far, short and sweet, dude. Short and sweet. Like a Hershey's Kisses. So, you guys like Hershey's Hugs or Hershey's Kisses? No. We move along here. Let's get into ratings wars, okay? Because this is actually... We got a clip. We have a run-in from Uncle Eazy-E on this one, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, there's like 260 to 270 wherever watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit heart, hit retweet if you're on X. Hit like, subscribe, all that good shit. You can super chat in. Check out patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times if you support what I do. And I got an upload coming on there tonight, 100% an exclusive Patreon video, and I recorded it earlier. And yeah, so check those out if you want to support, and or just hit like or whatever is what I'm trying to say. Okay, get in the comments, come say hello. Get in the chat, come say hello, whatever. Okay, let's get into my favorite. This is one of my favorite segments every goddamn week. I got to be honest. Even though the ratings are kind of boring, it's cool when you just stack them up and compare them, and then you get a little insight from someone like Eazy-E. I love that, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Ratings Wars. And check me out, Pro Wrestle Times on Kick. Okay, so WWE LFG Season 3, Episode 4 averaged 119K viewers and 0.02 in the key demo. Panel only. So Episode 1 did 151K, Episode 2, 108K, Episode 3 did 100K, but was higher in the key demo, like a 0.03. And then Episode 4 averaged 119K, 0.02. So again, Nielsen's wonky as fuck. You got to give Dave Meltzer credit. He was very conspiratorial towards it, but then, I mean, you got to take away the credit once you realize he just fucking flip-flops and takes it seriously for one company, not for the other, whatever. Dave aside, you know, this is one of these shows that they're going to keep on the air, but I don't get why. And it's the same with The Ultimate Fighter. So Dana White does an Ultimate Fighter every year. It does the same type of numbers right here. And the fighters get fucked because they get put on these low, shitty contracts and nobody gives a fuck. Okay? So it's unfortunate, but does anybody watch this show anymore? I don't even know. So Raj Giri posts, there have been 4 episodes, and again, I give that a trombone flop. It wouldn't be the bit if I didn't forget the bit. So that's a trombone flop right there. So we move along here. Raj Giri posts, there have been 4 episodes of SmackDown, Dynamite, and TNA Impact since Nielsen reportedly changed their methodology at the end of April. Here's how the averages of those shows fared with the 4 episodes before the change. So SmackDown is down 16% in the overall viewership and down 31% in the key demo, which isn't even the key demo. I fucking hate that term. Dynamite's down 17%, so similar numbers, and then down 29% in the key demo. TNA's down 19% overall and down 40% in the key demo. So obviously that's because people have fallen off watching TNA a little bit, right? Is why they're a little bit more. But at least those numbers indicate that they're somewhat consistent across the board of how much of a fall off wrestling views are getting. Now, how true are the views compared to the previous methodology? I don't fucking know, but we're here to talk about it, talk out of our asses. So I guess we will give a trombone flop for Nielsen for being redacted. So speaking of WWE primarily here, while we're on that topic, WWE NXT numbers were up from last week. However, the audience was still one of the lowest in show history. Oh, no. So even though they were up a bit, they're one of the lowest in history. Automatic trombone flop. Okay. Wrestling ratings are eating dick right now. NXT average 517 viewers, up 4%. 0.08 in the key demo, up 33%. 1849 was back to normal levels. The overall audience was the 3rd lowest in show history for its regular time slot. Year over year, NXT was down 26%, and the key demo was down 38%. Of course, different methodology. So as we move along here with WWE ratings, Actually, let's get into some TNA ratings now because we were also talking about them. So TNA Impact last Thursday did 178K 0.03. Okay, so trombone flop. Actually, no. You know what? I'm going to... Is it a trombone flop yet, or am I being impatient? I thought they'd be like tickling 200,000 every single week. Like at this point, they'd be over 200,000. I don't know. I'm going to trombone flop them. I'm going to trombone flop them. Okay. And we take a look here. So this is thanks to Jedi Goodman here. TNA Impact on AMC episode 19 averaged 178K. So let's take a look here. Episode 1 did 173, then 171, then 201, 241, 254, 233, 233, 249, 259, 250, 256, 200, 257, 212, 175, 200, 164, 196. So that's like a huge chunk of people that, like, if playoffs are on, they're going to fuck off and watch it. Like, otherwise, I don't even know how to explain this unless it's just Nielsen's methodology. Right? But they're kind of all over the place now. They should be doing over 200K or else I'm going to fucking flop it every week. And it doesn't include Impact Plus or YouTube or fucking AMC Plus or whatever else they're on. But, you know, it's getting a trombone flop unless it's 200K, okay? That's what I'm going to stand on with TNA. You got to hold them to a high standard like I was before. I can't be like, well, you know, it's fucking... So let's scroll back down here and see what we got. So in tickets news, or let's talk Dynamite ratings, I guess, because we were comparing them before, and then we'll get into tickets and YouTube viewership and shit like that. So Dynamite ratings were up from recent weeks from this past Wednesday's episode. Thank you, Raj Giri, for this. Raj Giri, and we will hear from him in a minute. In this clip we got here. Dynamite averaged 613K viewers, up 5%, with a 0.11 in the key demo, up 10%. Dynamite ranked 7 for the night in primetime on cable, tied with Anderson Cooper, The Valley, and a Friends rerun on Nick at Night, dude. A Friends rerun on Nick at Night, dude. Holy shit. The NBA Western Conference Finals topped the night. Year-over-year, Dynamite was up 7%, but the key demo was down 27% for some reason. So, I don't know, doing over 600K with playoffs, and they're up a bit from last year, even though the key demo's down. Nielsen's fucking around. I mean, I'll give them a trombone flop. Just this whole segment, like, wrestling ratings are fucking the shits right now, okay? Overall, in my humble opinion. So that's why we got to look to the live gates and the social media impressions. Those are what matter, and not just impressions, but like actual view counts. Those are what matter, I think, the most in this climate. So let's take a look at some ticket sales, and then we'll talk about Double or Nothing a little bit and their live viewership on the YouTube there. So WWE Saturday Night's main event ticket sales surpassed 10,000 tickets distributed, and then we watched it. And it was what it was, right? So Friday night SmackDown, and this was last SmackDown, they did 9,000, almost a sellout, I guess. 9,800 is what they were set up for. Who knows if they did that sellout for their setup, I guess, but they did over 9,000. Saturday night's main event, yeah, so they actually did close to 11,000 there. Probably did hit the 11,000 mark. I'm not sure if we got official attendance announced. Monday Night Raw, which was the other day's Raw, we watched on Memba Monday, did almost 10,000 as well. Pretty fucking crazy. They were set up for 9,900. I'm sure by the bell ringing time, they were good to go. And Forbidden Door, as you guys can see, okay, so they've surpassed 5,000 tickets sold at this point. But that's crazy. They're set up for 6,300. It's being promoted as fucking New Japan, CMLL, fucking this and that, right? Stardom, AEW, and they can't even sell 6,000 tickets like out the gate. And they're in San Jose, dude. That's Dave's backyard, man. The last Dynamite that went there had more tickets sold, you know? So they're in a building that's set up for 17,000 as well. They're 1 month out. So are they going to jump up another 5,000 tickets? I really doubt it. They're going to do sub 10K for this. Right? On a show, and you have Moxley choking out the Rascals. Like, who the fuck has Moxley helped? The fucking bum. Mox is a bum, dude. Who the fuck has he helped get more over in AEW? Chokes out the Rascals. Fuck. Oh my God. So, Double or Nothing, okay? They currently had 2.9K live pay-per-view viewers on YouTube. This is up from their peak, the last pay-per-view, which was 2.5K, but down year from year, and this is courtesy of Switchblade, 6.6K. For last year's Double or Nothing, there was 6.6K people watching. So it went up to 3K. It's at 3K. So it did less than half live viewers on YouTube. Now, this is a good metric to go by. And again, Dave will tell you it is when he's trying to shit on TNA or UFC or whatever. But when it comes to AEW, he never talks about this. Now, are all these people who would watch on YouTube last year, they had 6.6K watching Double or Nothing. Now, they surpassed their last pay-per-view interest-wise, and they should because it's Double or fucking Nothing, but only by 0.5K people watching on YouTube. Why is it a good indicator? Because YouTube's the number one streamer. It's the number one way anybody can pull up their YouTube and buy the fucking pay-per-view. Okay? So you have that many people watching. It's the number one streamer. You look at the attendances. You look at the YouTube numbers. You look at this amount of people watching it. And Dave Meltzer, again, is saying this is on track to be the highest AEW pay-per-view of all time or whatever he said. Like the pre-sales are doing mega, huge, awesome fucking numbers. Super, super, top numbers, Brian. But then you look at the YouTube and it's less people watching it than ever. Now, is there more people watching it on Triller who's not paying them? Is it more people buying it on My AEW internationally so we don't see? What could be the reason why? Right? Now, again, yes, did they sell 15,000 people? Yes. Thank Edge and Christian. Thank MJF. Thank Chris Jericho and Bobby Lashley and Kenny Omega. Right? Even the fans trapped on the bridge were like, fucking Darby Allin stinks, you know? Like, they're not paying to see that guy. They're paying to see him lose. So, yeah, man. It's just interesting to see 3K on their official YouTube channel. So when Dave sits there and goes, oh, the fucking interest is whatever, you look up the Google Trends, it won't even sniff what it did last year. But he's going to say the pay-per-view buys were more than ever. And then we're going to compare it to other pay-per-views, and then we're going to felt Dave with it like we've done a million times, like Nicolo Piccolo did this week, which we'll go over tomorrow, which we've been doing forever on this fucking show. And actually, Switchblade and Nicolo Piccolo, who were beefing, actually teamed up to felt Dave with the fucking YouTube numbers, or pardon me, the pay-per-view numbers, and how there's an anomaly. It's hilarious. And we'll do that tomorrow. Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week, Time Cop. But today, wrestling ratings are in free fall. This is courtesy of 83 Weeks. Oh, come on now, Eric and Raj. That's not very fair. Now, you can save on television ratings if you click the link below and use this discount code PWT. Make sure you support Phil Marks. Make sure you get a fucking 10 at Starcade 97, Eric. Chat me up about free fall TV ratings in the wrestling business, Eric. Oh, come on. That's not very fair. To say all TV ratings aren't doing bad and that it's not a healthy AEW.
Raj, I know there's been a lot of other big news that's broken this week. What's on your radar?
I think one of the big things was just how much
now,
the TV ratings have gone down for all the shows since Nielsen apparently changed their rating system at the end of April. And since then, it's been a significant decline. With SmackDown, Dynamite, and Impact, now there have been 4 episodes before the Nielsen change. I mean, after the Nielsen change, and then comparing that to before, you look at the 18 to 49 numbers. SmackDown's down 31% since the change. Dynamite, if you take the average of the 4 episodes, of course, is down 29%, and Impact is getting at the worst. It's down 40%.
So this is what we just pretty much talked about and covered.
In total viewers, SmackDown went from 1.45 million.
Can I jump in here,
18 to 49. Absolutely.
I was reading, because I'm reading, trying to keep up to date with what.
Shout out 83 Weeks, Raj Giri, Eric Bischoff, RAF, and Conrad Thompson.
What's going on in the business, at least if I can't watch the shows as much as I should. But I hear this a lot. Oh, man, like the ratings are coming down. Oh, this is, it's positioned in a, this is kind of this is a down cycle manner. It's clockwork. We're going into the finals of the NBA. That has an impact. That changes stuff. Add to that, and this is the one that nobody really pays attention to because it doesn't seem like it should matter, but it makes so much difference. Is it staying lighter later? What happens when it stays lighter later? Ask a bar owner. Ask a restaurant. Take a walk. Look around you. There are more people outside doing shit when it's daylight in the summertime and the weather finally gets nice. In the major markets that affect ratings, New York, come on. New York, Boston, Philadelphia, the whole Eastern Seaboard. It's a densely populated DMA.
It is true, man. And you hear like YouTubers that'll cope, like the Quartering, he'll fucking cope and be like, well, it's summertime, so the viewership's going to be down and stuff. You hear people cope about like, well, ratings are down because it's nice out. But it is true, I'd say, especially for television ratings, right? Because that requires like actually sitting down and watching some shit on a television, and you can never, people are always going to listen to podcasts. You can never count out like someone throwing a fucking podcast or something on their phone or whatever, right? When they go and work out or listening to music and shit, like people have phones. So the online shit, I don't know, but I will say this. Nobody talks about piracy and how many people just pirate ship and VPN fucking even WWE shows. It's not just AEW, but come on now.
Television market that matters.
This needs to be talked about. Like, how do you even do the math on that? How do you even do the math on, you have to go to every fucking site and check out what they're paying attention to, or pardon me, like, well, yeah, where the attention goes on these illegal sites. Like, you'd have to go there every week and chalk up the numbers and go, okay, so this got this many hits. So, and then the live viewers were this, so we can extrapolate that this is how many people watched it, because obviously there's going to be bots when it's on a pirate site. They're not even thinking about shit like that. At least I don't think they are,
So densely populated. When the weather starts getting nice after that audience has been cooped up all winter long, they're outside. And so when you combine NBA finals, we're going into the finals now, right? Playoffs. These games all of a sudden actually start to matter. We're not just watching basketball for the fun of it. These games matter. That increases your audience size for the NBA. And it's nice outside, so nobody's in the house using television. Actually, Nielsen has a term for it called HUT levels, which is households using television. You can look at it over the decades of Nielsen and go, oh, every year it does this. So it's not unusual. And the fact that SmackDown only
not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Based on what I think I heard you say, around 200,000 viewers this time of year is really not a bad sign. And here's what'll happen. Just because I do this shit.
It's not unusual to have ratings in the mud.
Starting in about August, they're going to start creeping back up. They're going to be tough all summer for a lot of the reasons I just discussed, and more. But
it's not unusual to see Tony Khan smile.
About August, they're going to start creeping up. September starts, oh, wow, look at this. Ooh, numbers are up. October, November, they're going to go through the roof. And they're going to stay there until about this time next year. And the same thing is going to happen.
And you are absolutely right. Like in May, with WWE across the board, you see it with Raw back in the day, you would see a drop. Now with AEW, you didn't see it as much. Like last year, if you looked at their May numbers compared to April, they did 0.16. They averaged 0.16 and 18 to 49 both months. In April, they averaged about 605,000 viewers. And then in May, they averaged 630,000. So they actually went up as the NBA and NHL playoffs got farther along. So whether
Yeah, it's because AEW fans are wrestling fans primarily, right? Like most AEW fans are just fans of WWE and everything too. Like, but most WWE fans aren't also fans of AEW, but they are fans of other sports, you know?
Again, it's so far Dave Meltzer has been the only one that reported that Nielsen has changed their methodology as of the end of April.
Well, there you go.
No one else, the last Nielsen change at the end of January, you had Variety reporting on it. So far, Variety.
So none of those people have backed up Dave Meltzer's claim. Oh my God, Flute's in the fucking chat. Oh my God, dude, I didn't even know that. So Dave, so when we've been sitting here going, oh, they changed their methodology again, Dave's the one who said that, and nobody's actually, nobody actually has confirmed that, like Variety or anything. I did not fucking
or
know
the
that
young
at all.
superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So,
oh my goodness,
the Hollywood Reporter, the usual go-tos on Nielsen changes have not reported any change in the ratings. So, but it does correspond. So whether it's true or not, whether it's just a cyclical thing, again, like you mentioned, WWE always does go down this time of year. A lot of it also has to deal with the creative kind of taking a slump after WrestleMania. It's a lot of rematches and things like that. But it could be. So I that's why anytime I write about or tweet about the ratings, I always say apparently Nielsen changed their ratings at the end of April, because I don't know for sure, because I've asked WWE, I've asked AEW, and they haven't corroborated that there's been a change.
So Dave just lied about that to make up AEW's numbers and pretend that they're good, because he's on this initiative to try and make them look good before the fucking bell tolls and fucking Paramount choke slams them into the fucking into the streaming service, into fucking my AEW Shadow Realm. That seems like what happened there. I did not realize Dave did that. What a motherfucker. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Ratings Wars. Wowza. Okay, let's get what do we have lined up here? We have one segment that I want to do next. Which we're going to get into, and I want to preview the WWE shows, okay, guys? I want to preview this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I will be live for Clash in Italy as well. I'm going to watch, obviously, Sicko Saturday, and we'll throw AAA on. And then Clash in Italy, I'm going to pop on, hang out with you guys for sure. Let me know what you guys think of Collision Dynamite. I don't think any champ wrestled tonight. I've been screaming at you. No one has confirmed it. What if Danhausen's curse doesn't work in the NBA Finals? Yeah, that's how crazy is it that the fucking Knicks, he uncursed them and then cursed the Cavs essentially, and the Knicks have been on like a 12-game streak or something like that. I don't fucking know. It's just insane. And you have Andrade right now. It's Collision. So Collision started obviously almost a goddamn hour ago, and they had the Mark Davis match bleed into it. And then you have the obvious plant being super obvious, setting up this. So the girl came over. This has got to be a wrestler, like an indie wrestler. Because otherwise, why would he pull her over the barricade? Oh, to pick her up and put her back over. Okay. All right. So let's get into, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WWE. So Rey Mysterio has been named the general manager of AAA, which was awesome. That's good. He should be. Then he had a match on Raw, which is pretty crazy. Savio Vega replaces Rey Mysterio on AAA Fox commentary team, which is fucking awesome for him. I thought it would be Conan. Again, as Husey said on this show, he's like, I don't know why Conan hasn't just fucking explained everything to everyone and shit. But yeah, I guess you'll get that explanation if he hasn't done it yet on K100's a while the last time Husey was on. But in other AAA news, I mean, they have their big show coming up. Ludwig Kaiser, he got arrested. We already covered this, but the judge presiding over the case against Ludwig Kaiser officially signed off earlier today to approve the motion requesting that he be allowed to travel both within the U.S. and internationally during the duration of the case. Right? So we will be getting that match, okay? The Mask versus Mask, which I am the most hype for. Absolutely the most hype for. Speaking of Noches de los Grandes, here is the card, and let's preview it. I didn't see a graphic for it, so it's week 1. Now, week 2 has La Catalina versus Flammer, I believe, for the title, for the women's title. Week 1, though, is stacked, okay? So you have Laredo Kid versus Rey Fenix for the AAA World Cruiserweight title. I think Phoenix is going to get it. I think Phoenix is going to win that shit there, and he's going to start rolling in AAA, okay? That's my prediction. You have Pagano and Psycho Clown versus the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar. Now, I could absolutely see the War Raiders winning it, or I don't know. Like, again, I'm not watching every single AAA Lucha on Fox, but I could see them winning it. No, they've been down there doing work. Like, is this a test? I don't know. But Pagano and Psycho Clown have had those belts for a while, unless they just win them and keep doing it. A lot of people think this is a test for them to go to the main roster. Again, I'm not sure about that, but it is what it is, man. So we also have El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. versus El Hijo del Vikingo for the AAA Latin American Championship. Again, Wagner's had it for a while. Vikingo could win it because he's like a top guy, and that title could be prestiged in a way. Well, I mean, it is sort of prestigious, I guess, right? But he could hold it while the world title's busy doing other shit, and they could feud a little while longer, whatever. I love Wagner. I love El Hijo. I don't really care who wins any of these matches because I'm just enjoying AAA. It is like the funnest wrestling show, and I'm not saying all the titles are going to change hands, but like if they did, I would be like, holy fuck. I wouldn't be too surprised. But El Grande Americano versus the original El Grande Americano. Lucha de Apuestas Mascara contra Mascara match. Mask versus match. Mask. I think the OG's getting unmasked, right? There's no way you unmask El Grande Ludwig. There's no way. He's like a cultural icon. He's fucking this generation's El Santo for Mexico and shit. Like, there's no fucking way that they unmask him or whatever. So I'm super excited for this fucking card. And just 4 matches. It's going to be a 1 hour long show of just bangers. And I cannot wait for it. Like, I'm telling you, I'm more hyped for this than most shit on Clash in Italy. Although Clash in Italy's stacked, doggy. It's a stacked ass card. It really is. So let's preview Clash in Italy next year. And then we'll get into some other thises and that's news-wise, okay? So Clash in Italy. The official updated card. So we have Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, Tribal Combat World Title. So again, it's like, what's the difference between Tribal Combat and Bloodline Rules? Is it just that in Bloodline Rules, there's like a bunch of run-ins, like in the 2K video game? I don't know, but Tribal Combat's anything goes. I assume there'll be a bunch of run-ins. I have no clue the difference between them. They should set up like a fucking, remember the Punjabi prison where they're in like a a fucking bamboo cage contraption or whatever, maybe a Singapore fucking contraption. Maybe they could do something like that. I don't know, but it's just going to be a lot of hardcore carnage action. Now, again, I heard an allegedly. No dirt sheets are talking about this, I don't think, and I'm not trying to blow up anyone's spot.
Allegedly.
Your ears if you don't want to hear. This is, and again, I'm not a dirt sheet. I'll probably be wrong. This is probably wrong. Okay, don't ever believe anything I say. But Roman is fucking banged up, working a little banged up there, boys and girls. Okay, so him dropping the belt might, like, I don't know. The fact there, I thought they were going to save this shit for SummerSlam. I got to be perfectly honest. So they got him in Italy after everyone's like, he's not going to be working this summer after fucking the clerical error there with his dates. I don't know, man. Jacob could win this shit in Italy, dude. He could, especially with tribal combat, like you do some fucking schmozzy shit where you absolutely destroy Roman to pin him and get the belt, keep him really strong, and then a rematch at SummerSlam or a rematch just down the line, or maybe that's a WrestleMania, who fucking knows. But Jacob could leave with that world title. I'm leaning towards that as we sit right now, that he's going to fucking get that world title. So we'll see. And I don't know, like, hey, it's an allegedly that Roman's banged up. How could you not be? You're out there fucking getting physical with Jacob and shit. And I also heard allegedly, and we're going to talk about injuries in a second, Logan Paul's hurt, but I also heard allegedly that Breaker's hurt.
Allegedly.
Again. Now, again, this could be wrong, but I was like, why the fuck aren't they teaming Theory up with Breaker? He could just slide in, but it just seems like the Vision's cursed, dude. There's a fucking curse. We need Dan. Hey, fuck the Knicks, dude. We need Danhausen to uncurse the Vision.
You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up.
But again, that's all rumors and innuendo. We'll see what the dirt sheets start saying in the next couple days. That's always what happens. But anyways, I'm leaning towards Jacob for that. So we have Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill for the women's title. Again, I'm kind of shocked they're doing this already. I think Jade's going to win that shit back. No? She got the visual pin, though, I believe, right? So Rhea maybe gets the dub. We have to see. Like, if Jade leaves her laying going into the pay-per-view, then yeah, Rhea got visually pinned and was left laying. Okay, Jade's gonna fucking lose. Like, she's gonna overcome Jade. But if like Jade can't, if like if Rhea kind of one-ups the heels leading into the match on SmackDown here coming up, I think Jade's gonna walk away with this one. You know what I mean? So I'm leaning towards her as well. 2 big title changes in Italy. Like, man, they promote the shit out of this like it's WrestleMania. All the PLEs are like WrestleMania level now. So this is like a huge deal. This is jam-packed with title matches. Okay? It's fucking Battle of the Belts. So we got Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the undisputed title. I don't think Gunther gets it done. And it might be some schmozziness. I could see a wild Drew McIntyre appearing again, which some people might not like. I could just see them getting out of this in a schmozzy fashion where Rhodes keeps the title. If Rhodes puts an L on Gunther, that's not a big deal. He already has one over Gunther, I believe, right? Didn't Rhodes beat Gunther for the Crown Jewel King of the Ring thing or whatever? So with Rhodes and with Gunther, I think that Rhodes, I don't think he can jumble the title around, okay? We know this. He can drop it, he can win it back, whatever. I just don't think now would be the time to do it. And then also with Gunther, if he only has like 5 losses on his name, right? So like Rhodes being one of the guys he can't overcome for now, or else Fabian Eichner shows up in Italy, the crowd erupts, they're with Nunzio, and fucking Chuck Palumbo comes out and they powerbomb Rhodes through the table and fucking win. No, I'm joking. And then you get Luigi, the pizzeria guy, out there. And then we have Becky Lynch versus Sol Ruca for the IC title. So obviously Sol's going to finally win it, right? And they flip-flopped on if she was going to win it at Saturday night's main event. We know that because of the graphics, how they were changing them and whatnot. And then we have Oba Femi, Brock Lesnar 2. Again, I thought that would be a SummerSlam match. If Brock gets his win back over Femi, I'm actually going to be kind of fucking bugged out by that. Unless he just gives it right back to Femi in a trilogy at SummerSlam and then Brock retires in Minneapolis. Okay, so best of 3, he got bested. But I could see Gunther losing. And if Brock beats Oba, fuck, that is not the move. But I could see Gunther doing a run out, unless they do Brock first. But I could see Gunther getting involved with Brock. Oh, no. They announced, sorry, on ESPN, Gunther and Jade Cargill and Rhea, those 2 WWE title matches will be on the first hour on ESPN. Okay? So I could see Rhodes and Gunther setting it off. Gunther getting involved later in the night with Brock, costing him the match against Oba. And then we go into SummerSlam, Minneapolis, and then it's Gunther versus Brock. Brock goes 0-2 against Oba, and then he fucking gets retired by Gunther. I 100% think that's what's going to happen. I've been saying this forever, that SummerSlam, Minnesota, that's where Gunther's going to retire Brock. I've been fucking saying it forever. I think it's just what's going to happen. And when Rhodes goes on very first with Gunther, they're in the first hour. So regardless, they're on ESPN. And Brock's not. Brock will probably be the main event if the tribal combat isn't. So the tribal combat probably be the main event. Yeah. So you have Brock Oba that doesn't go too long. Oba beats him, or Gunther gets involved and takes out Brock. Why? Because he fucks up his title opportunity that Heyman got him, and Brock is Heyman's guy. So Gunther lashes out on Brock and is like, fuck you, Heyman. And then they're the baby faces in that situation. And then maybe you get Brock on SmackDown a couple fucking times. Help boost those goddamn ratings a little bit, maybe. And especially because Brock put in work on SmackDown, dude. Like, they stopped doing the Undisputed Champ goes to both shows, and they brought the World Heavy to Raw, and they gave him just the WWE on just SmackDown because of Brock. So, to me, when I think back to that era where the Ruthless Aggression era, like, yes, Brock, he did before the brand split, he was on Raw and shit, but he's synonymous with SmackDown. So maybe he does a few SmackDowns before he calls it quits. And I think Gunther's going to take his ass out at SummerSlam. Those are my early predictions. We will see this weekend. I'm living for the weekend. So in other news, speaking of Brock Lesnar, man, he's doing a meet and greet in Emerald Park, Saskatchewan at a Home Hardware, which is like Home Depot in America, right? And he's selling these smoking bullets. They're like Brock Lesnar wood pellets, right? So he's doing a meet and greet, obviously, to sell some and promote it and get some eyeballs. Again, I mean, that's butt fuck nowhere. I would actually pull up to this if I had more than a day's notice, because that's like a few hours there. So if it wasn't 4 p.m. fucking tomorrow that I found out about this, I just found out about this today, I would actually probably go say what's up. But so shout out Brock doing a rare appearance, and make sure you check out his wood pellets. Speaking of selling things, man, here's an ad from John Cena, and he's partnered with Nature's Own to do some ASMR. You guys ready to get all weird? You guys ready to get all freaking naughty with me here at PWT? Let's do some ASMR with John Cena.
Did you know Nature's Own has a new recipe? The same great taste with simpler ingredients. Let's go over it together. Wheat flour, water, whole wheat flour, honey, sugar, wheat gluten, wheat bran, yeast, salt, cultured wheat flour, expeller pressed canola oil, vinegar, enzymes, malted barley flour, cherry acerola.
I don't know if a bunch of that shit's supposed to even be in bread, dog. I don't know. And he is the breaducator. That's his new wrestling gimmick. He's coming back. It's a fish. No. But John Cena pulled up to the Black and Brave, Seth Rollins' wrestling academy. And again, dude, he's showing up to the dungeon, the Black and Brave. Like, he's doing the damn thing. And this is what I mean. He signed this role with WWE. He still loves WWE. He ain't going anywhere. He's going to their official fucking affiliates and schools, and he's passing it on to the next generation, which is all you can fucking hope for. And it's so cool that John Cena's taking time to do this when he could just be doing some fucking bullshit Netflix movie or whatever. You know? He's there teaching these motherfuckers, and this is how you give back to the future. And it just shows that he really gives a fuck about the future of wrestling, dude. And WWE's done so much for the future of wrestling. I mean, it should not go undermined. Jeff Jarrett, though, speaking of the future of wrestling, Jeff Jarrett says WWID talent are shortchanging themselves by giving up indie names. It's like a slap in the nuts. Jeff Jarrett says WWID talent are shortchanging themselves by giving up indie names. So basically what happened was in WWE now, your ID name, like if you're wrestling on the WWE ID program, like you're wrestling for, someone said Beyond Wrestling earlier, you're doing a show, you're ID'd officially, and they're an ID affiliate. You have to use your fucking ID name. Now, why are they doing that? You might be asking, Phil. Well, let me tell you, Phil, in my mind. Probably because people like Zeta Steel, for instance, like, you know, they get signed up, ID'd, and then they just parlay it into a deal with Tone, and they're using the name Zeta Steel. And, you know, you're on the indies, you're investing in this people. Automatically, people who are ID'd are charging more, and the ID'd feds are drawing a little bit more, or leagues, indies, whatever you want to call them, are drawing a little bit more because they have that label, or the ID title can be on the line. So again, it hurts them none by just having these names that they come up with. Now, it kind of sucks. And of course, there's going to be outliers. You're going to have your AJ Styleses and your Samoa Joes bleed through the cracks and be the exception to the rule, and they get to keep their goddamn name. Jeff Jarrett, I mean, he is literally one to talk here. Like, his name was Jeff Jarrett in WWE and fucking WCW and TNA, and it was just his name. But either way, like, keeping that name is essential, you know, because especially in the day and age of the internet, like, it's tough when your name is now Priscilla Kelly, but you have to keep the Gigi Dolan handle, you know, like, that sucks, dude. That fucking does suck. And I don't blame WWE for doing this, though. But it means we're going to go back to the days of a bunch of really shitty names and most people who make a name, like Starboy Charlie. He's got to be Chaz or whatever the fuck his name is, Chaz Hall or whatever the fuck. That kind of stinks, you know? Starboy Charlie is just a cool name. So we will see. We will see how this plays out. But Jeff Jarrett, he's been burying WWE a lot lately, okay? Speaking of not getting buried, the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments will begin next week on Raw, so that's pretty cool, and someone's going to get a title match from that. I mean, I don't know. These tournaments kind of lost their luster a little bit, but if they can make it meaningful, and if they can not do it for like a cringe-ass crown or a fucking crown jewel title match or whatever, then okay. I don't know. You just give whoever wins it a WWE shot at a certain pay-per-view, every WWE or World Heavyweight title shot, pardon me, every year at a certain pay-per-view, and then we'll just know to accept that or expect that or whatever. Speaking of like shit you don't expect, man. Many of us in the IWC are passionate about wrestling, and then there's a large chunk of us that are SAWFT. And some people are wrestlers who can cut promos, and some people are fucking bona fide G's. Some people are bona fide studs, and other people are 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. Okay? And some people are just fucking haters. Let's keep it a buck here, okay?
Oh, hey. Let's just be fair. We got a couple haters.
But someone I've never hated on is Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Colin Cassidy, Big Cass, Big Kaz XL, Big Bill, whatever you want to call them. But it was reported, and we talked about this before on PWT, but Big Bill's deal is apparently up in June, or it's up already, or it's up at the end of May, or whatever the fuck. Okay. And Fightful was reporting on this. And Big Bill's been kind of absent from AEW programming. In fact, I think we've seen Brian Keith and we have not seen Big Bill. So it is assumed by many promoters on the independent scene that Enzo Amore is returning to WWE. According to Fightful, he has reportedly been turning down bookings that he would normally take. And what does that mean that he'd normally take? How do you know someone didn't fucking die in his family or something? God forbid. But I have been begging for an Enzo and Cass reunion for so goddamn long. Okay, and here's the thing with them firing the machine guns but then bringing these two in. It was said, the rumors and innuendo are that WWE wants to focus on people that they can push as singles, but also like they're not really focused on the tag division as much as like tag teams that have been there for a long time and just putting two singles guys together. Which when you have so many fucking singles guys that like are world champion caliber, I mean, yeah, what do? You pair them up and put them in the tag division. Kind of sucks. But Cass and Enzo both were going to get pushed and were pushed as singles as well as a tag team. So that's why this would make sense. Same with when we're talking about Corbin. Okay, Corbin could join a faction. Corbin could be in Danhausen face paint and be his tag partner. They're both tattooed up and shit. He could do this whole gimmick where he's pretending he could be Corbinhausen. He could pretending to not be Baron Corbin and just like a brainwashed fucking Danhausen Frankenstein guy. And I trust Danhausen would get that shit over. Okay. As stupid as that sounds. But Baron Corbin and Dijak could come in again. I don't think Dijak will ever come back, but they could be pushed as individuals or a tag team, right? Like, so I get it with Corbin. You pay him less probably than he was making before, and it's like Cardona. He'll just do jobs and shit, and you can get over some of these NXT, some of these Saints and Femis and Pages and shit. I get that. With Enzo and Cass, it's the same thing, and you could strike gold with Cass, especially with where he's at in his career, like physically and mentally and shit. Cass could be a solo. We already know Enzo fucking carried the cruiserweight division as far as not the physicality, but like peaking interest in it, and he had the cruiserweight title and he was talking his ass off, and he's a way better wrestler now. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Enzo, but I would love if they came back. I've been saying this forever. Any company. Why the fuck didn't AEW bring Enzo and Cass in? Why didn't TNA think of doing that? Like someone should have thought of bringing them in, and I get it. They got in a shoot fight situation with Nuge and ROH, or at a ROH show with some Nuge guys or whatever. None of that shit should matter. Okay. Enzo and Cass rule. They would get over. The promos would get over. Cass, obviously, he just does his thing. He'll get over. The pop would be insane. Okay. And right now, think about it. The Vision, they're all injured. Theory's a one-man tag champ. Like, who's going to partner with him? If it's not Breaker, if Breaker just doesn't get the title Freebird rules by de facto just being in the Vision, then what happens? Like, okay, you guys want to see the Street Profits get the titles? They could, I guess. Been there, done that. What are we going to see? Who's going to creep in? Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio? Okay. I mean, we just saw Dragon Lee team up with AJ Styles. I mean, who could come in that could reignite the tag division a little bit and break off? Who could do funny shit with Danhausen, funny shit with Truth, funny shit with Kit Wilson? Think about it. Danhausen's about to unveil Corbin or Omos as like the giant clone, right? He had someone laying under a sheet, right? It's gonna be Corbin or it's gonna be Omos, all right? And Corbin addressed his contract situation and I guess talked about how, like, I don't know, the rumors aren't necessarily true. Like, he had some tour a tour in Europe or something that I guess the dirt sheets were reporting that he didn't have some bookings, or he had some fucking bookings, whatever, but he might go back to the Fed. I guess he sort of dispelled some of those, but all I'm saying is this. Somebody teams up with Danhausen, right? And then it's like a comedy thing. You have Kit Wilson, who's kind of a goofball. He's teamed up with The Miz. You have Truth that's teamed up with Priest. Truth is a goofball. You could get Enzo in there with Cass. in 1 second, and it would make sense and people would get behind it, you know, if that's where you want to go as well. Or if you want to go to Raw and have them win those titles, sure, maybe. I would have kept the Machine Gun, sent them to Raw, and then fucking brought Enzo and Cass to SmackDown. That's what I would have done personally, but either way, I digress. And so as we watch Chris Statlander bleed out of her back horrendously, you know, a few nights removed from a pay-per-view where everybody did hardcore shit, we're seeing tombstones through tables and a back laceration on Chris Statlander. And it's time everybody was reminded that wrestling is indeed not fake.
Wrestling's not fake!
And wrestling's so not fake that, and we've talked about this, you know, the Vision are cursed and everybody's injured. And Logan Paul suffered a torn tricep and will be out for months. I'm hearing Breaker's hurt again. Theory's all good. He just came back from a long-ass injury before joining the Vision. Seth's not in the Vision, but he got fucking injured. Breaker got injured before. Bronson Reed is fucking injured. Everybody involved with the Vision gets injured. And so Logan Paul posted this nasty shit here, dude. I mean, that is just fucking horrendous. Right? And Logan Paul says, I tore my tricep, got surgery while wide awake, told Doc I want to feel it all. Still, the tag team champ, just FYI. They're telling me 6-month recovery, but I don't believe them. I'll be back in a couple weeks with some Prime Shake, 32-gram protein. And it said this was made with AI. So here's the problem with the made with AI tag, is that if you crop an image on your phone nowadays, or if you like put a filter on or whatever, or you just like photo enhance, it's all done with AI now. Everything's AI, just subtly though. So it will register like this is made with AI on his post. Why? This is with AI. He AI'd his arm. Fuck no. It's just that he put like the daylight filter, you know, he put like a filter on it to not make the room look so blue or some shit. And it registers as AI. So that's kind of fucking shitty that happens now, I guess, because some people might be like, no, I just used my iPhone phone filters and now it says I'm fucking AI when I'm not. But anyways, I guess technically it is AI though, if they're using AI. So Logan Paul's all fucked up and he did the surgery while awake. I'm sure they numbed him or something. Just like his skull. No, I'm joking. So we move along, and in some legal, this is the People's Court segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen. What a jam-packed show, guys. But WWE, they have some legality they must face, okay? And so Thirsty Thurston, Brandon Thurston posts no Vince McMahon and Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, and many more set to take the stand in WWE merger trial. Testimony also from Mark Shapiro, Stephanie McMahon to be heard. So testimonies from Mark Shapiro and Stephanie McMahon will be heard. Vince McMahon, Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, and Paul Levesque and Triple H, many more, are going to be taking a stand in the WWE merger trial. So that's pretty fucked, man. Like, this is still going on. And WWE's being investigated for this merger going down. And did they, what are they even being sued over at this point? I don't even fucking know. They were in cahoots, pal. Meanwhile, Tony Khan's like, I can't wait till this merger goes down. No one gives a fuck, you know. But this, according to Thurston, in a new ruling in the WWE merger lawsuit, Vice Chancellor J. Travis Laster found that Vince McMahon and Nick Khan destroyed evidence. Oh, shit. That's not good. As a consequence, the court will treat 5 damaging facts as presumptively true, and the case goes to trial next month. Oh, no, they're guilty, dude. Lock them the fuck up. But it's because they use the Signal app, and I guess the Signal app like deletes right away. Like you send messages, they get deleted after people read them, right? And yeah, I mean, the courts found that that's destroying evidence, okay? And so 5 things that were presumed to be damaging that are hearsay, more or less, that the claim was these are things claimed on the Signal app. Those will be accounted as they're fucking true, no matter how damaging or salacious they are, which is crazy. And that also means the quartering's guilty because he lied about using the Signal app. No, I keep bringing the quartering up, but he's like the new lol cow of the internet. He's the new Brendan Schaub. So anyways, Vince, Khan, as well as 3 others, Paul Levesque, Stephanie McMahon, and Brad Bloom, all used Signal's auto-delete function, which wiped out messages they had a legal duty to preserve. So it's like fucking Hillary Clinton's laptop, dude. That shit got scrubbed. You know what I'm saying, man? The ruling is a significant setback for the defendants, who are Vince Khan, Levesque, George Barrios, and Michelle Wilson. The case will now be harder, specifically for McMahon and Khan, to prevail against the shareholder plaintiffs' allegations. Now, way to go, Thurston, just stamping it with a bunch of fucking doom and gloom there. But it does seem as though that will be the case. And now these things that, let's say 3 out of those 5 things are true even. That sucks for them that the other 2. But, I mean, if they had a legal obligation to preserve these texts, I mean, you just get caught, dude, with the internet. You get fucking caught. It's unfortunate for them, but I just hope to God, like, worst case scenario, they all lose control of fucking WWE and then Tony Khan swoops in and buys it, you know? That's worst case scenario. Best case, Vince just fucks off already and we can fucking move on from all this goddamn shit. I need WWE and Triple H to be focused on putting on good wrestling shows, okay? And that, ladies and gentlemen, was WWF news, everybody. And that was PWT Live Show. Everybody, round of applause. What an amazing show. I had a blast tonight. I thought tonight's show was incredible. They all are. Patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times. Make sure you sign up over there. Round of applause for the PWT universe. We'll be live for Sicko Saturday. Of course, I'll see you tomorrow for DMW, which will be jam-packed as well. And what else? Sunday we'll be live. So thank you all. I appreciate you all. I love you all. I've been Phil S. Marks. And I will see you all next time. Get down, ooh. Get down, ooh. Peace.
Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guy's Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup, best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup, living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way. Got the whole roster locked in for the day. A Crimson Tower, modern art. Triple cup. Triple cup. Every booking is golden, you see. Perfect cards crafted for you and me. Yeah, the best guy's Tony Khan, it's true. Triple cup. Best damn booker in the land. 3 red cups stacked up, always in command. Triple cup. Living legend of the fight. Just a call away from making it right. Never see him back hard, no way.